coming back feeling relaxed. Diet's over.
Yeah.
Dieting is over.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Drinking
Yeah.
that fine wine.
Yes.
Yeah, getting all cookied up.
Yes.
Got your hoe sipping on that turpentine.
We killed this shit.
Okay.
We killed this
guess.
shit.
I'm thinking about ASAP Ferg. He always had like those lines where it was like, yes, ASAP Fergenstein got your bitch sipping that turpentine. Like that fly
He's
shit.
cool though.
Yeah,
I
straight
rock
fly
with him.
shit.
Yeah,
But yeah, man,
yeah, man.
it's been I don't know what the
Weekend.
fuck I was about to say.
Yeah. How
The
was it?
weekend was
Like,
good,
yeah,
but
weekend.
so we're not in the midst of that Black Panther weekend, but we're gonna get to that later. This weekend, I went to the mountains of Asheville, and that shit was amazing. I feel like I'm still I'm on cloud 100 relaxation right now.
Yeah.
The only thing about the mountains is really ain't no black people out there.
I
That's the
believe that.
main. It's none.
So that's what you were saying. It felt weird. Like
That's
you
the
know,
only
you seen all
thing.
those-
Everything about it was perfect. The fact it was just like, damn, there's no place I can go to where it's just gonna be just half the room will be black people. It's just no. But this is the thing. I just realized not that there's no black people. There's no any other race at all. That's the craziest shit.
Van White.
It was just white.
Okay.
I was like, that's what really started tripping me out.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, man, black people don't live here. Where the Asians at? Where the
Yeah,
Spanish
yeah.
at? Where the Spanish people at? You know what I'm saying? Where is everybody at right now?
Yeah.
Nobody was there, yo.
You're the only one there.
It was like, hey. But at the same time, yo, the
Represent
mountains are
for all
like
of us.
the mountains in North Carolina are fucking beautiful.
Yeah.
And then I heard there's like we went on the Blue Ridge Parkway, which is like a 700 mile, 400 to 700 mile highway road that takes you through the mountains and shit.
Yeah.
So like there's all different levels and points and stuff you can go to. It goes all the way up to Virginia. So we took that up to Craggy Gardens, like Peakway or whatever. Yeah, Craggy Gardens Peak, probably what you want to call it.
Yeah.
And we drove like 30 minutes up the mountain, bro. Just straight up. Like ears popping, everything. Like straight up. Pretty much we stopped when we hit the cloud line.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then we couldn't see shit in the clouds. So we were like, all right, time to turn around because we can't go up anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then we got up to the top. Oh, so relaxing. So relaxing.
And degrees wise.
It was like 55 to 60, somewhere around there. So it wasn't terribly cold. Like all we had was hoodies on out there, and everybody
It's
was
comfortable.
Everybody had hoodies and light jackets,
Yeah.
so you were pretty much good with that.
Okay.
So it was dope, bro. We got some dope ass pictures too. Some ill
nice.
pictures. I took some dope shit.
Yeah.
And then yeah, that was a weekend, man.
That's great, man.
Yeah, man. What y'all do?
Yeah. Oh man, I just jerked off one day. I
That
jerked
was
off for,
amazing.
Like 24 hours. Have you jerked off for 24?
Nigga, what? Your dick is broke, bro.
Oh
You
no,
do
no,
that
yeah,
shit.
yeah.
Y'all are a mess.
Oh no! Just yesterday it was just Black Panther.
Uh-huh,
Yeah,
that's it.
basically, yeah. You know, and we'll get into that later. But you know, go into not into depth because you haven't seen it yet. But
Yeah.
But we'll touch upon that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Touch upon. He
Yeah.
said touch upon.
Yes. Real
We'll touch upon it.
He said we will
Yeah.
touch upon
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
It's like putting a thusly.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
thus, therefore,
What did I do?
Yeah, what'd
I
you
finished
do?
my diet. It's been 6
Yeah.
weeks, guys. So,
evidence.
Yeah, I am overindulging.
Hence the.
Woo, we killed this.
Yeah.
Yeah, we killed
Yeah,
it.
Oreos and milk
Is
and
it gone?
wine.
2 more left.
Let me get one.
Yeah. So I'm a happier person.
Yeah.
I believe it.
I'm
'Cause
going to Cold Stone tomorrow.
Yeah, because you tried to get it before and
I
it didn't work out for
did.
you. Yeah,
Yeah, I
it
did.
was closed.
Yeah. But shout out to Steve. Steve's great. That's my trainer.
Yeah.
What up, Steve?
Shout out
We're
to
gonna meet
Steve,
one
man.
day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll all meet at some point one day. I'm sure.
He'll put you in a
It's-
headlock.
It's coming soon. It's soon if you listen.
Be like, stop. 5th time. Nah, the audience don't
But,
know what just happened.
Yeah, but look, all that matters is that we still here.
Yeah.
Well, you never knew we left, so
Yeah.
plot twist.
Even though you kind of know now, but still.
But all right. So this week, Nipsey Hussle's album dropped, and it was everything that.
This man.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
That was my favorite.
This man, when you left that night,
Oh, I know. I
Oh
heard.
yeah,
he gave me
the rundown
a Nipsey
crash
Hussle 101 crash course.
in about 5 or 6 videos.
Yeah, 5, 6 videos and a little
A
documentary.
little documentary, yeah, like
Okay.
10 minutes.
And now my respect for this man like grew. I was like,
Yeah?
I get it now. You know, I
Up there.
fucking get it.
Does it everything? It's just
He's
so
like Black Wall Street.
Exactly. That I was about to say. That's exactly the
does
example.
not-
That example is like the best
He
way to
does
wrap it up.
everything himself. And
Everything
from
start
grinding,
to finish.
and he owns all his masters, and
Oh,
he
wow.
doesn't give. He has his own like label.
He doesn't. Yeah, he does his own label. He only does partnerships. You
Yeah.
cannot sign them. You can't own any parts of it. Like it is, and that was the best example, yo. I'm so
Yeah.
glad you said that. The
Black
Wall
Wall
Street, because that's exactly what it is. It's just
Yeah.
these blueprints of like the. I'll never forget, yo. This is when I knew this nigga was starting to move real serious. When he had an Instagram post one time of him sitting inside of the city of LA's construction like zoning thing, like because he owns so much of that street, Crenshaw and Slauson, that he has to be informed on new future developments and things of that nature,
Yeah.
and groundbreaking concrete, like literally breaking the ground to build a new infrastructure.
Yeah.
He has to be informed on that shit now, or in the loop. You know what I mean? Shit like that.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous, bro.
Yeah, that's dope.
Yeah.
You don't see rappers doing that. You like, I was
No.
looking at the Instagram post. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I think he might be the realest rapper I've ever
Exactly.
seen.
That's it.
And
This
the
is like
shit that he's talking about, a lot of rappers it's like a facade of richness, and of course like their record company is like money that they're using from them, and that's how they got rich and shit.
Mhm.
He did all this shit on his fucking own. His riches is from him,
Yeah.
and the money
Me
goes.
and my team.
Yeah. Only what do you say? Like I
All
thought
money in, no money out.
Yeah, all money in, no money out. That's
Yeah.
what his like record
Yeah.
company is called.
Mm-hmm.
And that shit is fucking true. And so when he's saying like, yeah, like you rappers, you can't do this shit. I'm realer than you. It's like shit.
It's like, okay, yeah, we
Because he's
get
getting
it.
no handouts from the white man.
None, none.
That's
This
crazy. I never
this
knew
is,
that.
This is
I
a
didn't know
straight
that
up
till that
black
night.
business operating at the highest at one of the highest levels we've seen.
Yeah.
Like, and still not everybody has seen this, which
Yeah,
is even
yeah, yeah.
crazier.
So
You
he's
know what I
still on the
mean? Like,
underground tip a little bit.
yeah, because he's not doing the Jay-Z numbers. It's like
Mm.
he's still doing like 10 million, 20 million per
Yeah.
view, but that needs 100. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
blueprints, man.
Do you think with this album it'll escalate sort of
Yeah.
his fame?
Hell yeah, bro. Yeah. It's a wrap.
Because I
after
mean
this one.
Kendrick is on there.
It's a wrap after this
CeeLo is
one.
on there.
It's a wrap after this one. This one he is in the A list.
Jay-Z wasn't on there though.
Jeez, oh, I was
Yeah,
so
yeah.
sad.
He was.
I wanted that verse. I was so bad, yo.
Yeah, he thought.
I wanted
Jay-Z-
that. I was really hoping because I
On
was
bonus
like,
track.
man, I was hoping so bad.
Yeah.
I was hoping.
Yeah, Puff Daddy's on there, and he's actually going by Puff Daddy again.
He's going by Puff Daddy. That's how you knew it was gonna
I
be
thought
some
he
Diddy
was
shit.
yeah.
Let's
Yeah,
see.
So what you think about the album?
Blue Laces 2, love that shit.
Yeah, I love
Blue
that
Laces 2, yeah. That third verse was like a motion picture. Like you can make a whole music video, short story out of just the third verse. Shit's insane. But shit, man.
And like I said, like going back to that.
Oh,
verse on
Dr.
the thing,
Simi, Dr. Simi. That's what I wanted you to tell me. Yeah.
Sabi, yeah.
Yeah,
I
so-
went into it a little bit, but just like he was a doctor, black African doctor, old, and he had the cure for everything, basically. Just
Yeah.
his regiments and all that shit. And I got into him like last year when I was all into my like conspiracy shit. I came across him, and then he died in some kind of way where they said that.
It was like inconclusive or something like
Yeah,
that.
they said the government came in and took him and apprehended him and had to take him back to the States. I forgot what the reason was. It was some kind of like crime. And then he was never seen again. And then they came out saying that he passed away from the flu. And I was like, wait, the guy who has the cure for everything passed away from something he
Because
could cure
his
himself.
biggest thing was like he had the cure for AIDS.
Everything. He
Yeah.
cured a woman's blindness.
Yeah.
Yeah, he if you had cancer and all that shit, he could get rid of it.
Yeah.
Because he said that what you would have to do is like for like 3 days, you have to fast. You have to not eat anything for 3 days because when you do that, the immune system it like rearranges and it could change. You know.
Oh shit. He
And
was
then-
teaching health that deep.
Yeah.
Damn.
So it was like on a spiritual level. So even Left Eye from I was gonna say TRL,
damn.
but TLC.
TLC.
Yeah, she went there like when everybody was like calling her crazy because she burned down her, boyfriend's house.
Oh yeah, that's
she
right.
went to Africa, met up with him, and did all his teachings, and she became like spiritual. And they were doing the Eye of Horus, and all that stuff on her walls and shit. And she even said that she was gonna come back. Her mission coming back to America was gonna be to teach everybody
what she
these
learned.
ways. Yes, you could be cured of cancer and all that stuff. Then she died in a car accident.
Damn.
So all these,
That
see,
is- I
how
see
can you
it.
not get into conspiracy when
Yeah,
things
yeah.
conveniently happen like this?
Yeah, when you
But-
really look at it from that angle.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was one of the hottest lines
But
on Blue Laces
yeah,
too.
he brought that. He just gave a shout out. He said, "Yeah, they killed
Dr.
Dr.
Simi
because he was teaching health.
Yeah.
They go after Rick Ross because he's teaching wealth.
I fuck with Rick Ross because he's teaching wealth.
Yeah. But I was just blown away that he even brought that shit up. I was
And
just
like in
wow.
all the comments and shit on the YouTube video,
Yeah.
that's all they're talking about.
Really?
People
Oh, I
are
didn't
like,
see that.
"Oh yeah, the comments are crazy. It's all Dr. Semi."
Yeah, because he died in 2016 or something like that, and he's just like a underground, scooped under the rug type of hero that had the cure for cancer, for God's sake.
Yeah.
But like Chris Rock said, and Chris Rock again, Chris Rock, he's the Messiah.
Yeah.
He put out a new special, and that was great too.
Yeah.
Yeah, like he said a long time ago, the money isn't in the cure, the money is in the medicine. So
That's
in
true,
order
yeah.
to make money off, in order for the cancer research to
Mm-hmm.
keep going, people have to keep getting cancer.
Pretty much.
So
yeah.
if you invent a cure, then that stops the money flow and people lose jobs.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like this kind of weird thing, man.
It'll
Damn.
completely collapse the system.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
Yeah.
but we need it.
But we
Yeah.
need it though.
But yeah, so shout out to him to just
Shout out to
bringing that
Nipsey.
shit up. I don't think any rapper would ever bring up
Yeah.
Dr. Sadie.
Yeah, man. And yeah, man, that album was phenomenal. Long
Yeah.
story short,
He's a
from
conscious
start
rapper.
to finish, that shit was popping. And I like and I have favorite rappers, but there's always still like 2 or 3 songs. I'd be like, yeah, that one wasn't for me. Nah, that shit was hitting, yo. It's because his lyrical content is just so fucking real. Everything has to be for you. If you're not if you're on that wave, you know what I mean?
And
Yeah.
G Funk. Remember, I was comparing him to like back in the day, Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre and all that stuff. They call it Neo G Funk, so he's like G Funk of the 21st century, and he really does. He really does sound like that era, but in the 21st century, like that LA rap. you
Yeah,
know?
he killed that shit, man.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So you definitely got to watch that.
Okay.
Definitely.
I'm gonna do it.
You gotta watch that album.
Definitely got to listen to it.
Yeah. Well, and
Yeah.
watch the documentary piece too.
Yeah. All
Yeah,
his-
it's a
I'll
couple-
just I'll dive in. I'll do the whole thing.
yeah.
Do
So
the
he
whole
blew me away
research
with
plan.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty
Yeah.
much. I mean, that's all I want to talk about. Oh
Music-wise.
yeah. That's right. I'm tripping. And then we got to do the song of the week.
I had
Yeah.
something.
Yeah. You had something?
Oh, you mean
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Drake's video.
Oh yeah.
Oh, shit.
For
Yeah.
God's Plan.
God's
yeah.
Plan.
Tell me about that, because I
Oh, you didn't see it?
All right.
No, yeah.
So, Drake was given almost $1 million budget for the video for God's Plan.
Mm-hmm.
So what he decided to do instead of doing this, he tried to keep it as low as possible. So he filmed with single camera crews, et cetera, and things like that. And he gave away all the money.
oh
That
to
was
people.
for the budget for the video, and that's what the video is just the documentation of
Yeah,
him giving away
following
the
him.
money.
giving the money
Ah.
away.
So he goes into a supermarket.
It's pretty much all
Mm.
through Miami.
Walks
Yeah.
into the supermarket and tells everyone in there, get whatever you want, it's free. Pays for everyone's things in the supermarket. Then he's at University of Miami, and
That's
he
what it was, yeah.
gifted a $50,000 scholarship to a girl for she's a pre-dental student. So they got the video of him presenting her with a check. In the video, he also helped several families, just gave them like stacks of money, just gave them to them. He took several I believe it was either homeless women or women who worked, low wage jobs, took them on like shopping sprees.
Yeah. Yeah.
So shout out to Drake.
Yeah,
Yeah, I just thought that was beautiful. I think that's something we needed in the world today because things are crazy.
yeah.
Yeah.
And we need more of.
Yeah.
Like don't just stop at the video.
Right. And well, and
Yeah.
even that's what he did too. Once the video came out, he put a call to, everyone on Instagram and was like, hashtag God's plans on you guys' random acts of kindness during the day. He was like, this is not for marketing. I really just want to see everybody pay it forward. No, he said genuinely, I want to see everyone paying it
That
forward and
sounds
lending
like
a hand.
savage marketing to me.
No, but not even. I don't. I mean,
Not
Drake's,
savage.
I
I
mean,
mean,
but
well, you
Drake's
could do both at
genuinely
the
a
same
nice
time.
guy.
You could do both at the same time. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But as long as it's coming from like a true place,
I believe
you
so.
could,
Drake's
you
a
could
nice
do
guy.
you could do at the same time. But
Yeah.
just shout out for doing that, but don't stop.
I mean, he
Yeah,
gave
yeah.
away $1 million.
Yeah,
Come on.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like don't stop though.
He literally gave away $1 million.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, because it was all like behind the scenes footage, pretty much.
Yeah.
yeah,
Self.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
even like a cell phone footage. I felt
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
when it was in that hallway shit.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
So I thought that was a highlight for music this week.
yeah.
And then it's nice to see too several other artists have like rented out movie theaters in their hometowns so that the kids can go see Black Panther.
Yeah,
A
yeah.
soft
Yeah.
touch there. So it's just
Yeah.
it's making me
I
very
saw
happy
Top
to
Dog
see
pay
the
for like a whole school or some shit to go.
humanitarian
Top Dog?
efforts going
Oh,
on in
shit.
hip
Top
hop.
Dog, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice, man.
Mm-hmm.
Charity, man.
It was like a whole school.
Yeah.
I know to have it like that and to be able to just do charity.
No. Yeah, that's what I was
crazy.
saying. Like if I had that fucking money, I mean,
Yeah.
you could do it on this level as well, but
You can,
But if I did have the money, this is exactly what I would be doing. I know one of the things I would do is invest in like education, like in poor neighborhoods. That's one thing I know I would do for certain.
yeah,
You know,
if
Yeah.
I would give back to.
I want our children to be smarter than us.
Yeah, do you have anything? Mine would kind of be education, but mine would just be the focus on black teachers in the school,
Okay,
black
yeah.
male teachers in the school, because I don't think I've ever had one.
Yeah, And just fixing up schools in
Maybe
poor
one.
neighborhoods.
Maybe
you know,
one.
make it.
Yeah.
You know, maybe
one,
changing
yeah.
the curriculum or something like that. Make it a place that's fun to come to or something. You know, like.
Make it interesting.
Yeah, because that's one of the reasons too. It's just like, especially in poor neighborhoods, like they don't have. It's just like, man, I don't want to go to school. And some person
in some people's areas,
I'd rather sell drugs.
It's a complete waste of time. In
Yeah,
some
so
people's
waste of
areas,
time, right?
yeah.
You know, so if you make school a place that they would want to go to, I feel like they don't do that enough. You know,
Yeah,
especially in poor neighborhoods.
yeah.
But yeah, we
Do
need
you have
more
an
of that.
organization you would donate? You already know that you would donate back to.
Yeah, I think so.
I never thought of that until just now.
I think so. So, the community that I'm from, I went to high school in, very, very small. So, as my graduating class was
Yeah, you did say
111
that.
people.
So small.
So, I want to say back in, I think 2016. I hope I'm right. But
About 3 years ago. 2 years ago.
Yeah, two gentlemen that I went to high school with passed away within 24 hours of each other from heroin overdoses.
Ooh.
God damn, for real?
Yeah,
And like the same grade as you?
No, they were both
Oh.
younger than me. One was 2 years younger than me. One was 3 years younger than me. But I mean,
But they were all in the school. If it's that small, that's like 400 people.
yeah, right. And I
So
vividly
everybody
remember,
knows everybody.
seeing them, and so
Mhm.
now,
Yeah, you saw them people.
right. One of their mothers has started like a charity and a foundation because what happened with her son was he was on heroin and he had went to like rehab or like one of those houses where they help you,
Yeah.
and they weren't able to
Help him.
support him financially to be there anymore. So they told him, you have
Oh,
to
I
come
see.
home. And he, was like,
Didn't
I don't
get
want to
the
come
help he
home.
needed.
I don't want to go home. If I come home, I'm going to be in that environment, and things like that. He begged to not come back, and then she came home and found him dead with a needle in his arm. So it just kind of hits close. I mean, it literally hits close to home.
God
So I just kind of thought if I ever came into money, because giving back is a part of having wealth and maintaining wealth.
Yeah.
That would definitely be somewhere where I would
Yeah.
extend several dollars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And especially the
Two.
black community. See, that would be like, my thing. I mean, come on, man. We were at this point, even around the civil rights movement, like with the Black Wall Street, we were just talking about. We had our own shit going, and then the KKK burned that shit down, and then we just
Yeah.
haven't gotten to that point yet. We've been
Pretty much-
begging to the white man for shit, and not building our shit. I feel
That's
like
why this time is so nice, man, because it's like these last 2 years, I feel like it's being reflected in the music as well.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Yeah.
you know
Yeah,
what I
yeah.
mean? Like,
yeah,
Pop
It
is
was-
influential. That's
yeah,
what I like
it is.
about it.
influential as hell. So it's like there's been people who've been actively doing this shit forever, and then we've watched several years of people just asking for handouts, pretty much. Long story short,
yeah, and fame, and fame,
And fame, fortune, yeah.
We can't get our shit together because a rapper needs a watch.
but now like watching all this black businesses and shit come back like that, it's
Especially
like,
with Nipsey and
Mhm.
yeah,
and it's just everything like
I would say like
Bevel, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
I
I've
was-
seen it's crazy. It's just crazy how it's
Yeah.
like I'm like, oh yeah, I'll buy it from there.
Yeah.
Who cares if it's $2 more expensive? You know what I mean?
Right.
I would say even like with Kendrick, I would say he's more on a spiritual and culture level. He's trying to get you in that mindset to think
Yeah.
about your culture and where you came from and all
As
that
we
stuff.
go through this journey.
Yeah, and then
Oh,
I
I
would
see
say
what you're
Nipsey is more on the business side of like, let's do it for our own and shit,
Yeah.
So we need.
So if you put the
this
two
in
together, it's
hip-hop.
like want to keep you sane while you're going through that.
Yeah,
Black
yeah,
Wall
and
Street,
be in touch with who you are and where you came from, and then he's like, "Hey, let's build for ourselves."
Mhm.
I feel like it's good to have this narrative in hip hop right now.
Both
we
of
need
them,
it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just pretty
yeah.
ill. Man,
Shout
black
out,
people-
shout out to hip hop.
Yeah, shout out to hip hop.
Hip hop's growing up.
Hip hop is really.
Oh, not to mention with 444.
444. Yeah, that kicked it off, kind of.
Yeah.
That kind of kicked it off. It was like Nipsey. That was what he was going to do. That regardless, though.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
like,
he was on the mission.
but yeah, Jay-Z definitely. Thank God it was like one of our forefathers of like hip hop.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
you kicked that off. Let's hear the rest of this wave. You know.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
But yeah, man,
Yeah, man.
hip hop is popping. That's
Yeah.
why we're here.
yeah, man.
I tell you, I'm ignorant to everything else, but I know about this hip hop shit.
You're like, I like ass, but
Yeah.
we gotta help the kids.
Oh, can I tell y'all something really quick before we do our song of the week?
Okay.
Super quick. I was talking to this customer one time. Some people don't think of hip hop as anything at all. Like they don't even realize it's the most influential thing in the world. I was talking to this guy one time, and he was in L.A. or California or whatever, and he worked real close to making movies for like 20, 30 years plus. Like that's what he did his whole career. The way he was talking, I'm sitting on tens of millions. You know what I mean? Like I've been doing this.
Yeah.
Even most leading up to not movies, music.
Music, okay.
Music. Fuck, Warner Brother. Like it was one of those
Yeah.
influential. He was there from like the jump off when
Okay,
shit
yeah.
was cracking. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, we used to manage Sting a little bit. You know, like heavy hitters. And then I was like, I was thinking it was the label that Jimmy Iovine was in. Which one was that? The one that Jimmy
Not Maverick, right?
No.
Maverick? No. Okay.
Jimmy Iovine, because I just watched it on that HBO documentary
with Dr. Dre.
with Dr. Dre, and they were bringing it up a lot. I can't remember what I thought it was that one, and I was like, "These are hip hop guys, though." He was like, "Oh no, we were doing music way better than that crap." I was like, "You motherfucker!" Like,
Right.
I was like, "All right, yo, let's finish this sale up real quick, so you can keep it moving." Like,
Right.
we don't need a conversation.
No. We have to take that into account. There are people
Who still think
who
it's
do
like,
not think music, hip hop is like
a
music.
real thing almost.
It's not music. You know,
Yeah.
I've come across a lot of white people, especially on, YouTube videos and shit, and had debates
where
and
they're
shit.
questioning and stuff like that.
Or it was maybe like a video about hip hop, and I'd go under the carrot and say, "Man, hip hop is not even a real genre of music. It's just people talking about bullshit and all that stuff." And then I would like retort, and
Yeah.
I won like a few.
Yeah, yeah, oh hell
I got-
yeah.
Yeah,
Shit is,
So-
but it's crazy. But yeah, man, when that dude said that, I was like, that
Yeah.
shit. It's like it gave me the little twitch. Like, all right, man, yeah,
yeah.
I don't
Like,
like you.
see, like remember, these are people who only hear like the ignorant shit. They haven't delved into hip hop enough to see like the poetic
what it actually
stuff and
is. Yeah,
how culturally important and all that stuff. So they're looking at just what's on the radio, mostly on the radio. So
yeah.
there's nothing you can do really.
And man, I'm sorry for y'all, but hey, actually, I'm not sorry for you because I'm about to give you 3 songs that you can listen to go ahead change everything.
Yeah.
Actually, my song does not help 2 songs because I don't know what they have
really?
picked. Actually, might be only 1 song because I heard Shane's song. It's hip hop, but it ain't like
Oh no!
No,
It's
mine's
not
hip-hop.
hip hop.
yours is hip hop. We got 1 solid one for you. Then.
No, mine is like 80s funk.
Yeah, so mine was my song for this week. That's gonna get me through this week. Is Me and Miss Jones.
Oh,
The
old song.
Yeah,
Yeah.
damn, I cannot remember who the artist is now. You know what? Y'all know who me and Mrs. Jones.
Why is that taking you through the week?
Okay, because I already like that. I love that shit. Like I
Yeah.
love that music. So when we was in the mountains this weekend, Saturday morning, like when we was making breakfast and all that shit, we getting high. We just total relaxation on top of a mountain. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Smoking weed, having eggs and bacon and shit. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And just relaxing on the porch. And then I had like the oldie playlist on.
Yeah, that
pretty
sounds
much.
relaxing and nice.
Yeah, so it was just like that was the one
Yeah.
that I was like. I mean, that's always been one of my
It's
favorite
soul,
songs. Yeah, but I was like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
This is the moment. This is a moment.
This is all I need
Man,
right now.
now you got me ready to go home and break out the records.
Yeah, man, that shit was amazing.
I got
Oh
Al
man,
Green and Marvin Gaye.
yup,
Maybe,
yeah,
yeah, maybe
all
I'll
that's
do
on
that
that playlist.
tomorrow.
Oh yeah. First thing in the morning. It's for some reason that music is for the morning. Like
Yeah.
that first thing in the morning when you hear those jams like that, the
70s,
Al
80s,
Greens, and
yeah.
you be like, oh, this day's about to be popping, nigga.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
can't nothing touch me. Like
Yeah.
it's just
Especially if they
yeah.
have like a horn section or something.
Yeah, like a nice straight music breakdown. You're like, yeah, I need that for the day.
Yeah,
You could do
Puts in
anything.
that 70s fucking feather and shit.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah, yo.
pimps and shit.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, man,
Cadillacs.
I love it. So yeah,
Flair.
that was definitely like one of the highlights for me, like personally, while
Yeah.
we were there, like
Yeah.
having that moment to myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Nice.
it's definitely taking me. What
Okay.
about you?
Mine is for some reason like a few days ago I was having like doubts like writing again. You know, like sometimes
yeah,
every
where
once
you
in a
psych
while I
yourself
just
out.
have a,
Internal battle.
Yeah, I don't know what triggered it.
A quick little scuffle.
yeah, I don't know what triggered it. Maybe it was something I was watching or an interview or something, but
Mm-hmm.
like it gave me that discouragement of just like, man, should I even do this? Is the story even good? And then, but then you have that second voice in your head. It's like, no, just do it. You know, just
Right.
go for it. You know, what do you
Right.
have to lose? Just
Yeah.
do it. You know,
Yeah.
and just go for it. Maybe it might pop. You know, so you know, especially like when you don't have like a woman, or if you're a woman, if you don't have that guy or like a support,
Yeah.
that support that you need. You know, like I don't know if I can do this.
Especially
no.
finding that in your partner. That's like
Yeah,
a
yeah.
given. You're going to get it
Right.
from
So
your
when you
partner.
don't have that, you sort of have to like be your own cheerleader. You know,
Absolutely.
you have to be the cheerleader and the one on the field, you know,
Yeah, that's a fact.
simultaneously.
Yeah.
So then I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do it, you know. And then this song, the one I have now is by a group called Tuxedo, and underground electro funk type of group.
Okay.
It started.
I heard the
It
beginning
was
of it. It was pretty funky.
yeah. It's sort of like Jackson 5-ish.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it started by this guy named Mayor Hawthorne, and he's a
I
young white guy.
definitely remember that name.
Yeah,
oh,
he's
I
a
remember Mayor
young,
Hawthorne.
late
Yeah.
20s
He was
white
big
guy.
when he first popped. He was
2010
huge.
is when I discovered him because in 2010, for some reason, I was really on a kick of listening to new artists that do old music.
Oh,
So
I
like
see.
Raphael
Okay.
Sadiq, Aloe Black,
That gave you
where
that
they do
old
the
school feel.
70s, yeah, but they're just new guys, you know,
Mhm.
and they do that type of music. I was really on a kick in 2010, and I came across him, and he on his own, Mayor Hawthorne, he does like 70s Motown type of stuff with a little J Dilla in there,
Yeah.
and then like 2 years later, he started an 80s funk group named Tuxedo, and that one, the first song is called "Do It." And that song is just funky as fuck. I'll probably play it later, but it's just funky and it just gets you dancing and shit, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
and
liked
do it. And when he was saying like in the song, he says "do it" a lot. So I was just like, yeah, that's gonna be my song for the week.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, just do
Yeah,
it.
you play that before you hit the writing.
Yeah,
writing
yeah.
drum?
Just
Yeah.
get up and dance and sweat and shit.
You're gonna be ready. Yeah.
And I'm like, man, I'm pumped. I want something upbeat, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So
true.
so that's my song for the week.
Gotcha. For me, I was in the car riding around and getting it. You know how I do.
Riding around and not getting
Yes.
it. Hey.
But a song came through. I've been in this place now. Like, I have my playlist and stuff, but I'm like, I just set my whole music library on shuffle and just get surprised by what comes up. 'Cause,
Yeah.
I mean, I have a lot of music.
I know that's so
Yeah.
risky for me to do.
No, but I mean, it's nice because I'm like, oh, okay, rare gems. So one that came up was a song called "Be Okay" featuring Trinidad James by Early Mac. So he's from Detroit. And he just had this line where it was just like, you got to remember that niggas at the top were niggas at the bottom. Everybody's going to see their day. And I was like, you know what? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
true.
Everything's going to be okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
You should listen to it. But it got my mind right. And I was like, you know what? That's what we're riding out to the week for.
Nice.
That's the one.
And it's got that, like, low-key, like, riding in the car bumping kind of feel to
Yeah.
it.
This week's ride out.
What?
The name.
Yeah.
Oh shit!
Oh.
And you got that while
You're
you're
welcome.
high. You see what happens, kids?
You motherfuckers! This week's ride out. I'll do a yeah.
Oh shit!
This week's ride out.
Yeah.
Maybe we
So
gotta
what's your
start.
ride out?
It's gonna be like some. This week's ride out.
It's a drop.
It could go
Give
so.
it-
It could go into
Please
so
just
many.
give me some of the
Yeah.
Jamaican air horns.
Yeah.
And that bitch be 5 seconds. It's just 5 seconds of litness, and then be like,
Yeah,
boom. This what we.
your ride out for the week. Yeah.
Yeah, but no, I'm gonna play that for you guys later because
Yeah,
that's so good.
yeah,
And then
yeah.
All right,
Trinidad
yeah.
James verse comes in real flying. He's like, the only problem I have is what chain I'm gonna wear today,
Mm.
what shoes I'm gonna wear today,
I like cocky
what
shit like
rings
that.
I'm gonna wear today. I'm
I'm-
like, okay,
Yeah.
those are good problems to have.
Yeah.
I know he said it real good too.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
I'm
gonna
play
I
it
like
for you.
Trinidad. Trinidad
I know you
James is-
do.
Yeah,
I know
like
you
I just
do.
heard
When I
that
listened to
song.
it, I was like, you know what, AJ would fuck with this.
Yeah, I do like Trinidad James, so I'm ready to hear that one too.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
Nice,
yeah, I mean that's it, man. You already got what we're gonna ride out to this week.
Yeah.
And
You,
then-
you guys just heard the songs.
You
Hopefully,
just heard the name of we
YouTube
riding
them.
out.
You know.
Yeah,
download them
and
and
I
shit.
cannot remember.
What we're doing next?
Movies.
I know.
Oh, movies. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that's
what-
right.
Yeah. So I know Joaquin Phoenix is. Okay. So Joaquin Phoenix, I think either 2 weeks ago, has just been. No, he hasn't been signed, but he's in negotiations to play the Joker. Oh, and I think I have a picture because you said that you didn't
Yes,
know.
I did not remember what he looked like.
You
That's
did
right.
not know what he looked
Joaquin Watkins.
like.
Phoenix?
Joaquin Phoenix.
Phoenix.
Where
Oh.
did Watkins
You ever seen this?
come
Because
from?
okay,
Yeah, yeah. What did he say? What did he say? What did he say?
I don't know
What
why
did I say?
it's like Joaquin Watkins. Who the fuck is that, AJ? Who the fuck is that?
Joaquin Watkins.
okay.
Yeah.
One, because I thought this was a black dude we were talking about the entire
Oh.
time.
To be the Joker? What?
A nigga named Joaquin.
Oh, okay. All right,
just
all right.
assuming.
all right.
I'm taken out.
You're
So
right.
when you sent me this picture, I was like,
You're right. You're right.
so I just gave him a black name. I just,
Yeah.
gave,
Joaquin.
You really did.
I just gave him a black last name and let it ride.
Joaquin Jackson.
This nigga's last name is like
Joaquin
It's
Phoenix. Yeah.
You
Damn.
really
'Cause
said.
Remember, like I said, the
Watkins.
last time he comes from like it has like a very hippie family or something like that.
Damn.
Watkins. And
Yeah.
the more fucked up part about it
Joaquin
is that Watkins sounds like Joaquin. So I'm like, what?
Yeah.
the
Joaquin Watkins.
I'm about to put you in a corner because you're out of line. Like,
your
I
whole
can't.
name sounds like the same thing.
I cannot.
Joaquin Watkins.
Watkins. Yeah.
Oh man, I'm
That
sorry.
was-
A porn name.
Thank you.
A
I
whole
needed
lot,
that laugh.
yeah, a whole lot of things just changed
Yeah,
just
yeah.
now because I damn sure
Oh
thought it was
yeah. That's
Where
so
have
that's
you
why I was
even
like,
heard
wait,
the
for a
name
black guy.
Joaquin Watkins before?
I haven't. That's what I'm telling you. I was just giving him a black last name because he had a black first name.
Yeah.
So I was just gonna throw something out there and hope it stuck, and it damn sure didn't.
No.
Especially when I saw it was a white dude. I was like,
Yeah. It was like, wait, hold on.
that motherfucker's last name could be anything.
Yeah. Yeah. So now,
Sorry.
you know
Yeah.
that Jared Leto, he's currently playing the Joker.
Right. That's why
And,
I was like,
Suicide Squad and all that
makes
stuff.
No sense.
So now
I
they're
like that one too, man, because he's like the
Which one?
gangster,
Oh, him,
like
yeah,
the 20s.
him
but
as the
that's
Joker,
not
yeah, I
who the
liked.
Joker is.
I
though.
know, but if Joker was like now, it would be some
I mean-
It was a
gangsta-ass
reimagining.
dude.
It was
And
a
he was pretty
reimagining.
Okay,
gangster. Like
okay,
if
I
you
see
look at
that.
him,
Because
just
he had to think about it. Heath Ledger killed it, so he had to do something.
yeah, they had to take it to a
That's
whole different
true.
role. Yeah,
That's
because
true.
he's the bar, you know. So it's just like shit. I gotta go left. I
Yeah.
gotta do
Yeah.
a different
which I
take
kind of
on it.
like that because like if they did a whole gangster Joker movie, I'd
Yeah.
fuck with that.
I
shit.
want to see
like
a
gangster
Joker-
robbing banks doing shootouts.
But
you
I
know
don't
what I mean?
know. But I mean, because the Joker is literally like insane. So
He was kinda
different depictions of him in the comics. Sometimes
Yeah.
in
well, 'cause
certain
I
runs, he's
like
a
the
gangster.
Cartoons,
Yeah,
like-
he was like insane.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
those
slash gangster, but
he was fucking crazy.
Yeah, this was the straight OG tag
Yeah.
from head to
Yeah.
toe.
yeah.
Yeah.
What's his name? Like Jack Nicholson. It seems like he was like maybe
He's
in the
really
80s.
playful.
He was like clownish
Right.
slash gangsterish because I remember he had some like some of the
He
deals
did
he was
have
doing.
the old mafia movement a little bit,
Yeah,
but
with the
he
coat
was
with
like
the
a real,
hat and
but
stuff.
he was real clownish though.
Yeah,
like,
he was still like silly.
yeah, silly.
Then
Yeah.
Heath Ledger, he was just an anarchist. He's just like,
Yeah.
fuck the government, you know?
Yeah.
Join me and shit.
Yeah,
you know,
that's
let's
true.
burn everything down. And then Jared Leto, he seems like he was trying to be more. I'm not sure. Like, I think it's the story that was just like. Maybe
was
I
so
don't think the
fucked up.
story was sure what type of Joker he was supposed to be.
I don't think there was enough for us to really define.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
yeah.
know,
He didn't even
it
have
was
that
like-
much screen time.
It was around and then it was
The
how it
stories
was
were terrible.
centered around the romance with Harley Quinn. I'm like, that's really only a portion of the
Yeah.
story.
Yeah. Should he have even been in it at all? Because it
Right.
seems like he was just sprinkled in
As
there
a supporting character
to bring maybe everybody in or whatever. I would like to see a Joker and Harley Quinn movie done sort
I
of like
think
a
that'd be
Bonnie and Clyde
interesting, Yeah.
type of
That'd be terrifying.
natural born killers type of thing, where it's
They're
just like
both
them on the run,
crazy,
and
yeah.
Batman is like not the bad guy, but he's the one that they're running from in the movie.
Yeah.
You know, where we're following the bad guys in this one, and they're
Right.
robbing banks and struggling with their dysfunctional relationship and
Right.
shit. You know, like I feel like that could be like very dramatic and
That would
good.
be cool. I'd
Yeah.
go see it.
Yeah, you know, and they'd probably finally get a big hit. DC if you got some Tarantino to do that shit or something.
This whole time I was thinking about you guys were talking about the Harley Quinn and the Joker movie.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking of like literally just like the gangster movie.
What?
I'm so stuck on this gangster Joker. I'm thinking
Oh,
about.
gangster Joker.
I'm thinking about if he was really in the neighborhood on some Goodfellas shit. It just was just.
Oh,
but
like
was
that.
just crazy though. Like
Yeah.
did the same gangster
Yeah.
shit. Just pulled up.
Hey, I'd like
like
to see a
walk.
Goodfellas version of the Joker.
Of
movie.
that Joker.
yeah,
That
yeah.
would be fire,
But see,
bro.
but that's who knows if that's what they do with Joaquin Phoenix because we don't know what they're gonna
Yeah.
do.
Right.
So-
I mean, if they're going to bring in someone else, it could be totally different from Suicide Squad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
so
So-
confused.
yeah.
Don't do it again. I just like that
What?
character. Like
Oh,
it's
the
like they change it so much.
Yeah.
But even then, I feel like maybe that's not the best idea because it's like you already came in late to the game. Marvel's XYZ amount of years in, and
Yeah.
you're trying to compete
10,
with them.
exactly.
Yeah, you're trying to compete with them, and
You're
going
failing.
about it.
you're already going to have two Jokers, and you've only been started for how many years?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Since 2014 or something.
Because I know when they're signing those contracts for Marvel, they're signing them.
Forget.
They're
Yeah,
like
for
they're
a
like we gonna see you
deal.
for the next 10 years,
Exactly.
brother. Like
Yeah, but they
Exactly.
you have a
but that's
job
why-
for the next 5-10 years.
Right.
But that's because they already have a plan. They already know
Yeah.
the finish line.
They're building.
that's
They've already
true.
built the whole universe.
Yeah. You know, so they got.
What do you
that
think it's
shit.
like in those board meetings at DC when they be putting together these trash movies?
I think they
What
just
the fuck they be
throwing
talking
shit
about?
at a wall at this point. Just like
That has
let's
to
see
be
It's
whatever
all over the
sticks.
place.
That has to be
yeah.
the flies meeting to sit in just to be like, damn, y'all really moving like this. And y'all
Yeah.
are like, this is crazy.
Oh, you mean Marvel? Oh, you mean
Marvel.
the successful?
Oh,
Marvel?
yeah.
okay.
Oh my god. I would
Oh,
be like,
Marvel. That's what I'm talking about.
Ryan
I would
Coogler
have-
described it.
Yeah. Oh, he
like
did?
glitter in my eyes.
Yeah, Ryan Coogler, director of Black
What'd he
Panther,
say?
he described it because he wasn't sure like how are you guys gonna want to approach
Mm-hmm.
Black Panther and all that stuff. He met with one of the big owner that's been
Who's Stan Lee?
Kevin Feige. Who's
Oh,
been
yeah. Uh-huh.
doing this whole
Mhm.
thing for 10 years.
Yeah.
He met with him and he was like he was a cool guy and he said that he basically wanted me to do my thing. Basically,
Yeah.
he was saying like just bring whatever you want to it. He just says like we just need to get here and here
And
here.
follow this. And
But
that's
it's up to you how to get there. You know, we need to have this character in here and all that stuff. But then like play with it.
So they gave him
Yeah.
full like creative direction.
That's why it feels like his film. And all of the
That's
directors, it always
beautiful.
feels like their film That's why they all feel different from each other, but they still tie in together.
Right.
You know, because they're giving the directors creative freedom. You know,
That's nice.
so
To
that's
do
cool.
their
It makes for a
job,
better
yeah.
product too, I'm sure.
Yeah, so it's a well-oiled machine, but it's sort of like flexible. You could
Right.
you could play in it.
Which
You know?
is, I think, the perfect way to run it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've always wanted to work at those jobs that have those environments.
Yeah, nice
You know how they
environment.
say like Google, it's like
Yeah,
you know what I
laid
mean,
back
like
or something.
yeah, like late coming to work with a t-shirt.
Glass
Well, I
offices.
mean, but you have to think about like how quality of life will affect people's performance.
Yeah, people, a lot of jobs
Yeah.
love to ignore that.
Yeah.
Like they love to
How they have
ignore
nice
that.
offices and shit.
They're
They have
like-
break room. Oh,
Prison.
even at Pixar. They said at Pixar.
Pretty much, they're like we're okay if we almost mentally break you, or if we mentally break you, you have this much time off before we need you back. Like you know what I mean?
They're
Like
ruthless.
yeah, like yeah, you can have your mental breakdown outside of work. You have exactly 80 hours to do that actually. So
Yeah.
let me know when you're done.
Yeah, so they don't
Right.
even care. Yeah, so so that's basically the Joaquin Phoenix one. They're basically going to be running two Jokers at the very same time. That would be like having two James Bonds. So
Right.
Yeah,
At the same
out of
time.
control.
That's
Instead
what I'm
of,
saying.
like,
I think that's
passing
just a
the
poor
baton.
decision. Yeah.
yeah, so good luck to DC again. We'll see if this one sticks. I mean, possibly maybe out of one of these, a great Joker movie, depending on which director they get. It could possibly be great or something, but who knows? You know. So we'll see that shit. Next story is for a trailer called "I Feel Pretty." Now this trailer,
Automatically makes me think of West Side Story. I feel pretty.
I feel pretty. Oh, the song.
Why do I feel
yeah,
like it's
yeah.
a horror movie?
No, it's not a horror movie. It's a comedy
Okay.
starring Amy Schumer. Now, the reason why I'm bringing this up is because this video for the trailer, or trailers, like, because I've seen multiple. Or she's-
I am minding my business.
yeah. And he's minding your
I
business.
am minding my business and
Yeah.
listening.
That shit is
Multitasking.
bubbling, boy. I was like,
It smells good, too.
2 shots.
smells
of
good, too.
vodka, That line.
But yeah, so the reason why I'm bringing it up is because the likes or the dislikes on this
Right.
trailer has the highest dislikes I have ever probably
damn,
seen
for
on a
real?
video.
How many?
Wow.
A lot.
Damn.
It's like the blue part is like this much.
Wow.
I was just like,
Like,
holy! And this was before I
damn.
watched it. I was like, holy shit! I
But
watched
was
it.
bad?
Here's the thing. This is why I think this is happening. Now with Amy Schumer, there is an argument to be made that she's not funny. You know,
Okay.
because
I think she's funny, but I don't think she's funny.
you know,
don't
I
think
would
she's-
say
Humorous, but she's
exactly
not
like
funny.
that.
Maybe
Like,
that's what it is.
I watched some of her episodes on her TV show, right? When she
Yeah.
had it
What TV show
Inside
does she
Amy
have?
Schumer.
Amy Schumer show.
Inside Amy Schumer
Oh.
on
Oh,
Comedy
yeah.
Central.
Oh shit! It was like a show following her, pretty much.
No,
She would
just
do, like,
sketches
skits,
like
yeah.
Oh,
Chappelle or
sketches.
something.
Okay.
None of them made me laugh, but a lot of them had like themes where I'm like, okay, I see what you're doing.
Yeah.
I get it. You know, like okay, I
Like
get it.
intelligent humor, yeah.
Yeah, like she had this short where she was like trying to be more boyish in order to impress a guy because they were all at like in this restaurant watching a football game, and this girl came up and she's a girly girl, but the other girl came up and she knew all about football and all the players and all that stuff, and the guys were like, yeah, you
Yeah.
know, and she was like, yeah, and she was like trying to act like more boyish, you know.
Oh yeah.
And then that actually made me think. I was like, hey, what? Yeah, why is that? Why do we like, girls to have more like what would be considered guy traits or
Boyish
guy
tendencies.
activities and shit? You know, like why do we like
such
girls
as loving sports.
loving sports
Yeah.
and
'Cause you want
just
someone you
drinking
can
beer
relate
and
to.
burping and stuff like that? We like them to do male kind of stuff, but it's like, but what does that say about us? Do we want a man and girls in a girl's body?
Oh,
or
I know what
something?
it is. I know what it is.
What?
It's the because girls like are held up to this standard where they don't do none of that in front of us almost.
Mhm.
Like burping, farting,
Yeah,
shit like that.
yeah.
So like if she does that in front of you, be like, oh yeah, she's comfortable.
Yeah,
you know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
That's what that is. I think
Yeah.
maybe that's why we be like,
But see, like I said, like
Some
in
dudes
the
like it
short,
more
the
than others,
girl,
though.
she was the girl that's just more girly girl, doesn't watch sports, into like,
Mhm.
more girly stuff, and she just felt threatened by it's like, okay, so I have to be more like a boy into boy stuff in order to get them to look at me the same way as that girl, you know? And I was just like, I just thought that was just interesting, you know?
I
So
didn't even know she had a sketch show. I gotta check one of these.
yeah,
Yeah.
I don't even know
I'm
if
sure
she's
they
still
got-
running.
I'm
I
sure
would
they got.
think so.
I'm
Okay.
sure they got a bunch of clips on YouTube.
Yeah,
bro.
I'm sure you
Watch
got
some
it.
of them sketches.
Now with this movie, it's the same thing where it's like it didn't make me laugh at all, but it's like yeah,
Comedy
and it's a
movie
comedy,
trail.
right? But it was like the idea is like, okay, I get it, because it's basically about her. She's like more overweight now, and she has like fine friends and all that shit. and she feels insecure about her body. So she's at a gym one day. She slips on the treadmill.
Nice.
She hits her head on the metal part of the treadmill. And yeah.
Sounds graphic in the opening
Yeah.
scene.
Yeah, and then when she comes to in the dressing room with her friend, and when she looks in the mirror, like remember previous, she was just like, ugh. When she looks in the mirror, she's like, oh my God, I am beautiful.
She's someone else.
But she looks exactly the same.
Oh.
She's still overweight and all that stuff. But now she's seeing herself as beautiful. Like she got hit, and now her
Brain chemistry changes.
her idea of what she sees herself as has changed now.
Yeah.
You know, her perspective. So now she looks exactly the same. Everybody's looking at her like, yeah, she's still overweight and all that shit. But she's walking out. No, I am the sexiest one in here. Oh, there's a wet t-shirt wet t-shirt contest. It's like, oh shit, I'm gonna join that. You know, and her rolls and shit. Yeah.
Okay, real quick. So when you automatically were like leading down that path, I'm assuming she looks in the mirror and she sees something else shallow.
I thought
Yeah.
that's what was gonna happen.
That did not happen.
Yeah.
It was the same
I
person.
thought that was gonna happen
yeah.
because they did that kind of like transition where she's gonna look in the
Word.
mirror, and I thought she was gonna like change.
So
and
that
she
was
didn't. She
already
was
like
exactly the
that was
same.
already like a plot point right there.
Yeah.
That doesn't, because then
Yeah.
it'd be like Shallow Hal movies.
Yeah,
So
people were saying it was like the opposite of Shallow Hal because something happens to him where she looks exactly the same, but he sees her as beautiful.
Yeah.
But then we see her as Gwyneth Paltrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of like the opposite of that, but she looks exactly the same to us,
And
you
then
know.
she's
But
just
she
shutting
sees
down.
herself. We don't see what she sees. I think she just sees like
shit.
herself as whatever she looks like.
What happens at the end of the movie when she clicks back to her insecure mind state? I guess.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
That's the
Yeah.
That's
cliffhanger.
I guess
get
you have to watch the movie
That's
to
the-
see
Yeah.
what
yeah, that's the
happens.
thing that you gotta watch the movie.
I wonder what
guess.
happens at the end. Like, might have to see the movie.
That's what trailers are for.
But that's what I was saying. Like, I didn't laugh throughout because the jokes just wasn't really popping. But it was like the idea I just told you. I was just like, okay, I get it because I get what the message is. Like, for no matter what a woman looks like, she should just see herself as
Yeah.
beautiful. You know, like even if she's out of shape and all that stuff. So I get the message. So I think her messages are always keen, but it's just like her. She's
Actual-
kind of like not funny.
the actual performance of it is not as good.
Yeah, it's just like I don't
as
know
the
if she needs
idea.
better writers or something, but so in the comment section. But here's the thing, though. I think what a lot of people don't like her for is because she's been accused
Stealing jokes.
of stealing jokes
Yeah.
in the past.
a lot.
Yeah, some people have
Damn.
like side by side and all that shit. So I think that's where the most of the hate is coming from because the comment section is vicious.
Damn.
For real?
Yeah, I mean, and I'm talking about like men going to
Damn.
like even just getting nasty where I'm just like, holy shit, don't say that. You know, where it's just like
yeah.
they're calling her as
Damn.
this fat, unfunny fat cow trying to do this shit.
Damn.
I was like,
Who
Yeah,
going in
it's
like
rude.
that? Holy
That's
It's
shit.
the
really
internet, man.
rude.
Like-
that's true.
yeah.
That
That's
is true.
true.
You
So-
can find a certain video on the internet. Or
Yeah, I was just
motherfuckers
like,
have no mercy.
shit. I was just like, it's the shit that makes you say like, what's her name? Who was in Ghostbusters? She's big, black, tall.
Oh, Leslie Jones.
Leslie Jones.
yeah.
I think recently she came out saying that like on
She
a
was
Twitter
depressed
post
that she's
she
gonna
was
be
depressed
alone
and she
forever.
thought she was gonna be alone forever.
I remember
She did
that.
say that,
sad.
yeah.
It's sad
like
as
a
fuck
week
too.
ago.
Yeah, so I'm wondering, like, shit, looking at all these comments with Amy Schumer, I wonder if
Right.
she'll get to that fucking point where it's just like,
Damn.
the internet can do that. I mean, and that's why Leslie Jones, because I remember a year ago when everybody was just comparing her to, like, a ape or something, you know?
Yeah, going in on her.
It's just like,
Yeah.
people are just ruthless, you know?
Oh, yeah.
I see, like, why women have it so hard, you
Yeah.
know? Like, when it comes to, like, looks and shit like that, because
Yeah.
men, like, some men just are ruthless. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah, they are.
you're out of shape
Absolutely.
and they'll just call you a fucking cow and shit.
Absolutely.
So,
Especially the dudes that do it when they're like married to the woman, she has a baby,
oh, yeah.
and then they're just like full-fledged dickheads
I've
right
experienced
after
that.
that. For real?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Damn.
not to that degree, but no, my ex-boyfriend, like, we were together,
Yeah.
and we were cool and
Yeah.
stuff, and like, I mean, I was in a relationship and I was on birth control, so I did gain weight, but he like tried to call me fat. Like he literally like tried to call me fat, and like,
God damn it.
like, oh my God, this is gonna sound so bad. Like, I'm so sorry, God forgive me, but like, he's not skinny.
No, I saw this nigga here.
Uh.
Now, we look the same, nigga. You
He's
might be a
not.
little bit. You might have a little bit
Oh,
more
really?
fat on you than
He's
me.
not small.
Yeah.
But, you know, in that moment, I think that was when the light bulb kind of went off. Like, this is probably not where you need to be, Javada. But I was just like, do you really want to have a conversation about weight?
Yeah.
Even if I have gained weight, I don't know that you should be talking to me about it. You know what I mean? Like,
Like the nerve of you, nigga.
yeah,
Yeah.
That's kind of how I feel.
You
Like,
overweight and they gonna
so-
tell me I'm getting big. What
Some
the
people
fuck?
do that though.
Yeah.
Yeah, some people,
Some
because
people
some people be that's how you
They don't look
realize
at
how
themselves.
lost somebody be. You be like, oh man, you're gone, bro.
Yeah.
Like when they just start doing like unrational like shit like that, you're like,
See, I remember I was saying I get mad at women for the same thing, where they're out of shape, but they want a man that like goes to the gym
That's,
and
but I
have
mean,
a-
that's fair.
That's fair.
No,
Oh,
I mean,
oh,
no, you
that's-
being upset. No, you being upset about
I was
that.
I was-
No,
oh,
she
that's
was
fair.
like,
no,
well,
no.
please
That's
explain if that's fair.
No, I see your point. That's what I meant.
Yeah.
You have a fair
So I'm
argument.
like, I have to
yeah.
bust my ass on the treadmill, but I have to look. But you get to sit there and eat fucking
Right.
cookies. It's like, what the fuck?
Right.
You
Oh, that was
know,
me.
I feel like I haven't seen that too often though.
What?
When I really think about it, I know it's a thing, but I haven't seen too many women who are out of shape and then be like, I want a man who's in shape.
That's true.
I've known one.
You've known one? I know they're
we
out
knew
there.
one. Yeah, she's. Yeah, I
We-
gotta get into it.
Do we?
Yeah. But damn, she
Well, let's just let it go.
no.
Yeah.
Start.
Let's just let it go.
I mean, I kind of like it, but yeah. Never mind.
I'm gonna let it go.
Yeah. Let
Okay.
it go. That's for another podcast.
What's wrong with you people?
Yeah, yeah. Shame on you guys for even bringing this shit up.
Damn.
But yeah, so yeah, they're really going in on this trailer, and before the movie even comes out, people are just like ragging on this shit. So I don't know what
crazy.
the box office numbers are going to be for that movie. People are probably not going to see it, and I guess they're just waiting for her to fail. But I was just bringing that up because the dislikes, it's like I don't know, like 24K. It might be
It was-
24K. It was like.
It was
Yikes.
God damn.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
pretty
it was
bad.
a lot. You know, like the blue part is just like, and there's like 2 different links. So I checked 2 different trailers, and the likes on all of them.
They were
No.
consistent.
Yikes.
Yeah, all of
So
it. So it
bad.
seems like the same people went to this one.
Dang.
Unlike
Her
this-
second
this
trailer
one,
better be
unlike the-
fire, or
Yeah.
it's dead for that movie. It
Yeah.
better be
It's like
fire.
right out of the gate, people hate, and I think, like I said, I think it's because they hate her.
Yeah, people do hate her.
It's
yeah.
not only the the stolen joke stuff, and then some people think she's not funny, but then some people think she's unattractive, so they're just gonna bully her.
Mm-hmm.
All of it, So I'm just wishing the best to her. I don't want to see no suicide fucking.
Well, let's
her
hope-
and
I
Leslie
don't think it would
Jones.
ever come to that. I hope not.
Yeah, and Leslie
never
Jones,
know.
be careful too. I love
We
you.
didn't know. Yeah, for real. Yeah, we can't
Yeah.
lose Leslie.
Be careful
they
because
have
that just
been-
makes me
Les
sad.
dog.
Yeah,
That just makes me sad because
Les
she looks
Dog.
just like a great person to be around.
She
Like
seems
if we ever
so much
met her,
fun. Yeah.
like she just cracking jokes. I just hate like
I would have the best time with her. I know
people
it.
just doing that to
You kn-
nice people.
You know what I don't think helps though?
What?
I feel like she did a lot of coonish roles for a couple of years.
Oh, Cornish,
Coonish.
I mean, like
She was kind of like she like
maybe
loaded
on
up.
SNL, maybe like
yeah,
the-
and then like every time I would see her, it was like, oh, why would you?
Yeah.
do
She's
that?
so funny.
but
though.
still, yeah. It's just still
I
like
mean, there's still no excuse.
there's
for
no
it.
excuse to be an
There's still
asshole.
no, yeah, there's still
You
no
know?
excuse. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just
But
like
you know
you
what
don't
I
like,
mean.
you don't like
You know
it.
how
Yeah.
some niggas get.
So
Yeah.
but
But
yeah, I think that was it. So shout out to that trailer. Good luck.
good luck. Yeah, pretty much. Good luck.
Yeah. So that's all for movie news.
Yeah.
But actually, it's not because we were just gonna touch on Black Panther a little bit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
we both saw Black Panther.
We both saw it.
What's
did
your
not see it
initial
yet.
reaction of the movie, the story, and
Story good.
everything?
Story was good. The movie was good. So the movie was good, but I don't think I would watch it a million times though. But
It's very political.
yeah, but that's the thing about the movie. I feel like I don't want to judge it too soon because it's one of those movies. I feel like I definitely missed some bars they were dropping because they dropped a lot of. They were talking a lot of like game in there and like just dropping knowledge and stuff like that and like little hints and things.
Some
and I
things
know
I did not expect. I'm like,
Exactly,
you're
so the
really-
things-
they went there.
yeah, so it was like the things that I didn't expect probably distracted me from some other points they were probably making. It's definitely one of those movies that has replay value just so I can figure out everything they were saying.
Yeah,
Besides that, it was pretty good.
yeah. I would.
Oh,
definitely-
and I'm standing on this forever. Like
yeah.
a B. Jordan. Cannot act.
Really? I heard a lot of people say they were impressed with his performance.
No, they.
This might be another level up, but guess what? You're
They
still
are.
2
They are.
levels behind everybody else that was on that screen.
Yeah, they are, and they're talking about especially because of his character's motives are very strong.
Yeah.
His character and his character's motives for why he's doing what he's doing is very strong. It makes you go, "Shit, damn, he has a point." Yeah.
Yeah. You
And
kind
I
of
think that's
you're,
what a lot of people especially love.
you're on the villain side a little bit in this
A
one.
little bit because
Yeah,
he
that's
makes
what
sense.
I've heard.
Yeah.
He makes sense.
It's all
Both sides make sense, and I
Yeah.
love movies like that are that conflicting.
Yeah.
It makes you just jump back and forth and just like I love villains that make you think, okay, I see where you're coming from, but you're going about it the wrong way. Yeah. And I said like to him, like Heath Ledger's Joker, he was like anarchist and saying like the government only freaks out when one of theirs gets taken out, but they don't freak out when citizens get killed or when you go to soldiers get blown up and all that stuff. They don't freak out, you know, because they don't give a fuck about you. You know, it's just like shit. That might be true.
Yeah.
So he's one of those villains. You know, I guess he, you know, just talking about the performance itself, it was lower than the other people because we were saying like, you know, he does good. You know, he's fine. You know, but as a matter of fact, a football player blew me away. Wilson Duke, something Duke.
Who did he play in the movie?
He played the guy that. Oh shit! He played the guy that he fought first in the match. That big guy.
Oh yeah. Oh, that was a football
he
player.
Had like comedic. Yeah, he was a football player.
Shit, I didn't know that. Yeah,
I didn't know that until after the movie. Just watching that movie afterwards, I was just like, "Who is that guy?" Because he made me laugh and shit. Like he had some great lines and shit. You know.
He was good. Overall,
I love the movie. It's definitely a heavy movie. It's very political. You know, they bring up a lot of stuff about slavery. That's why I was saying, like, I cannot believe that some of the stuff they brought up in this movie, like, they got away with. You know, they really let Ryan Coogler do his shit. You know, he was bringing up some like things that make you think about like Africa, the current state of Africa, and the current state of blacks in America, and why we're in this situation and they're not, and all that stuff. So. Good job on that. He killed it with the story, you know?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, the storyline was amazing.
Still worth watching, you know? Seeing in the theater. Great action set pieces. The first one's a little dark, cinematography-wise.
So could you not really see what was going on in that?
Yeah, in the dark.
Yeah,
that scene was a little underlit.
Yeah, yeah, it was a lot of niggas is like, I know people are getting their ass whooped, but I can't tell
see
from
shit.
where. Yeah.
And he's wearing all black, so
yeah, it's kind
that didn't help.
It's kind of real hard.
Yeah. Otherwise than that, there is one action scene that I loved that gave me goosebumps. Is the casino one.
Oh yeah,
casino scene where it's just the whole fight takes place like in one shot, and the camera will come over here and then go over here without cuts and shit. I love that shit. The score was great, very African percussion and shit like that. So overall, good movie.
Yeah,
great movie actually.
Yeah.
I want to see it again. I might see it with my mom or something.
Oh, true.
Yeah. Because she said she wanted to see it, but like next weekend probably. But I was like, I can't wait.
When it dies down.
Yeah.
But it was crazy.
I believe it.
Yeah. Oh man, the line. Fucking, I was like, shit. Just to get inside, I wasn't even sure if I was gonna get fucking seats. But yeah, so great movie. I know you. Hopefully you'll check it out soon.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah,
definitely check it out.
I'm
sure
going
you
to.
will, though.
Yeah, I'm going to.
Yeah.
But sometimes we gotta wait for them lines to die down.
Yeah, I get irritated.
Yeah, waiting in line.
Oh yeah.
I get real, and I can't control my face.
Yeah.
Whole bitch.
And shout out to the money. Shout out to the box office. I mean, it made on its opening weekend. It's become the 5th biggest opening ever for a movie.
216 million.
Yeah.
216 million.
Jesus Christ. Yeah.
So they already made their money back. The budget for the movie was 200 million.
Yeah.
Oh, for real?
And that's just in the U.S.
Yeah, and that's just the weekend. And Justice League tried to come up to that money in like 13 weeks. They said, it took them 13 weeks to get to that point. It took them a weekend. So a lot of people, especially black people, came out. Yeah,
we might see a Billy off of this one.
Yeah, a billion.
Oh, that's a lot.
Oh, a billion. Yeah.
No, I might do it.
Yeah, they did 200.
It depends on the
in the first 4 days.
It depends on two things. It depends on repeat viewings.
Which
how many
I'm
people
sure
want
is
to
going to
see.
be a thing.
Yeah.
But also the one that's in the question mark is the overseas, because remember, like in the business now, they really turn to overseas money as great income, for them. Like all those Transformers movies. That's why they're so successful, because they make more in China than they do here. Yeah, so they're sort of like an outsourcing thing. But knowing the whole case of like black people in cinema don't really do that well overseas and all that stuff, the question mark is just like because of Marvel, right. But we'll see, it'll be a test to see how racist you motherfuckers are. Oh, you saw every fucking Marvel movie except this one, huh? Yeah. China, get your shit together. See this shit. Don't make me come over there.
When does it come out for them?
I don't know, but you know what? It's sort of weird how they did this one, because usually for big budget movies, it comes out in China first, or overseas first, and then we get it last. This one is the opposite. They're starting here, and then it's going to go overseas. And I don't know if that's because Black Americans, we know they'll come to this movie here. So
That's
let's
true,
start
yeah.
with them.
They know they're gonna get the money
We're
here.
not 100% sure if everybody is going to come to
Yeah.
see that, so we don't want to hear, you don't want to hear, it's doing poor over there. And then when it comes over, oh shit, is it a bad movie and all that stuff? The bad word of mouth would start spreading if they did it.
Oh,
that
that's
way.
true. Yeah, that's
If
true.
it didn't do good overseas.
It's
So
gonna do good overseas because
yeah, hopefully. Yeah.
America by itself influences the entire world, especially the younger parts of the world. So
Yeah.
they see us going crazy for it. They're going crazy. They're matching and surpassing our craziness.
Yeah. I saw like somebody broke down the races that went to see it this weekend. They said there was like 28% of black people, 27% of white people, 15% of Hispanics, and then 5% of Asians went to see it this weekend.
Damn,
Yeah. So I was just like,
that's still a lot though for the
Yeah.
amount of money they made.
yeah. But we'll see.
We
We'll
will
see.
see.
Yeah, we'll see. Hopefully it continues because it's a movie that's worth making more money for. So.
Cool.
All right. So that's it for movie news.
Alrighty. So what I want to talk about as far as pop culture and social media, the mass shooting that happened in Florida
Yes.
has had the social media world buzzing. So just some recap for anyone who is not fully caught up on the situation. 19-year-old gunman from the school, Nicholas Cruz, I believe is his name. So he had an AR-15 and smoke grenades. He lured all of the kids out of the classrooms by pulling the fire alarm, let out the smoke bombs, and then, started shooting. There's been all types of news coming from it. They had a rally where some of the students spoke out, directly calling out politicians on how they were going to handle the matter because several of them, Republicans that are in office, receive multi-million-dollar funding from the NRA, which is definitely going to be determining how they're going to be inhibiting gun safety laws and the situation and things of that nature.
Yeah.
A couple things to consider as well. After researching the shooter, they found that he was a member of a white supremacist group in Florida. He attended several meetings.
The same MO.
There was a video that was released on TMZ today that came from his neighbor. You can see the shooter in his backyard doing target practice with like a handheld gun, maybe a BB gun or something like that, where he's
But
just
practicing.
target practice. And then also, like I told you guys as well, too, on the YouTube video of a prior shooting that happened in America, he had left several comments, and the poster of the video reported him to the FBI on multiple occasions, as well as other YouTube users. And the FBI just kind of didn't really work the tip or take it very seriously. So now there's kind of been a call to action in that regard as well. So what I wanted to ask you guys was, what is your opinion on gun control, gun safety, and things like that? Because I know where I stand, but I want to hear where you guys are coming from.
In terms of owning a gun, like, because I never like associate with guns or anything, but to me, it's just puzzling that it's easy to get a gun than it is to get a driver's license. It's less of a process.
Right.
I don't know exactly what it would take to differentiate between the people who are not insane and who are sane, because how can you really prove that, especially like if you had a test or something, okay.
Learn how to take the test to pass.
Yeah.
On top of that, that's another.
An insane person can still like, okay, I just need to, are you insane? No.
Right.
That's the
Not give me
biggest.
the gun.
Excuse me. That's like the biggest issue because I mean, like I carry, but I think it's way too easy to get one. Like I can't believe how easy it was for me to get one. Like I went online for about 5 minutes. I put my name in, my address,
The
my
application.
social. I paid $5 per permit that I wanted for the handgun. And then I went down to the courthouse, gave them the papers, they stamped it, emailed me within like 3 days saying I can come pick it up.
Now, what if you did that with the intent of killing someone at your job?
Exactly. I mean,
You
I didn't
can.
even talk to anybody. Like and then it's just so easy. Like when I went to talk to the clerk, it was like the typical government clerk. They don't give a fuck about you.
Yeah.
You said you have what name? Boom, boom, boom. Come back. You'll get an email in 2 weeks. Like one of those
Yeah,
transactions.
let me get you in and get you out.
Get you in and out, and that was it. So it's just like I support being able to carry guns and all that stuff, but it's way too easy to get one.
That's what I was
that's
thinking.
that's the biggest problem.
Yeah, that was my thing. I feel like it should be more of a rigorous process to get a gun. I mean, like, look at what you fucking have to do in order to get a
That was a
driver's
hand,
license.
and that was a handgun.
Yeah.
So when it comes to that was a handgun, so that was more extensive than getting an AR-15, which is considered a rifle. We can do that now. We're 18. We just go into the store, give them our social. They do a background check, and in 24 hours we pick up our gun. We can all buy choppers right now.
Yeah.
So that's even more dangerous. It's like it's just way too loose, and you can do
Yeah.
that at 18.
Right.
So the handgun is 21, 18 for the rifles and shotguns. So it's just way too easy.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that is where my button is on it.
Yeah.
So I actually remember I wrote an editorial for the Black newspaper when I was an undergrad. On the stance of gun violence. I want to say this is maybe after Sandy Hook.
Okay.
So, they asked
About
me
4 years ago, 5 years ago.
So they asked me, can you write, your take on gun control as someone who grew up in a military household? And I was like, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that is true.
Even though my dad was in the military, he was more of the swords. He kept swords in the house, which is really weird. Yeah, he didn't really keep
Samurai.
guns.
That sounds kind of dope, actually.
He was officer,
Yeah.
so they had to carry a sword with their
Yeah.
dress. So, I said, I totally agree in having the right to bear arms. If you have a home invasion or something like that, you need to be able to defend yourself. I totally get that. But, for me personally, I think for regular civilians to have access to assault rifles is just ridiculous. I felt that way then, and I definitely, in lieu of recent events, from Sandy Hook until now, I definitely feel the same way about that. I just don't understand why a regular person needs to be able to pull a trigger and just spray anything.
Yeah,
Anything,
and
anything.
a lot of rednecks really, but they say that, we this is America. We need the right to hunt and all that stuff. It's just like hunt.
Well, in that case,
You need just a shotgun or a rifle.
Mm.
You
To
need an
hunt.
assault rifle.
I mean, to hunt. I mean, McDonald's is right down the street. Right? What are you hunting?
because the way you made it seem like you're saying you don't feel like this is like the way it sounded, and then you kind of like went off of that. You don't think that they should be able to sell rifles at all?
No.
Oh, at all. to
That's
the public.
what you're
Oh.
saying, right?
Mhm.
That's what I thought.
But
okay.
then, I just don't think, because for me, I'm just like, why does anyone need that? Like, why do you
It's
need
the people
it?
that
I mean,
hunt.
that's true. That's true.
Why do you
but,
need
but
it?
I mean, but you're right.
Why do you
like,
need it? I understand it's my Second Amendment right, blah, blah. I mean,
Well, it's
yes,
not
it is.
that. Like the people that like the rifle thing, I don't think that's one of those things that's not going to go anywhere. Just because of people that there's still so many people who use that to hunt, and it's like it's one of those hunting, like the rifle for hunting, and then the shotgun for home defense. It's like something that's so built into just like, especially American people's like foundation.
Yeah,
it's
that's
just,
true.
I think it's like that's impossible to go anywhere, and most of the crimes are being committed with handguns.
Most
Most
of the
Now,
mass shootings.
Our mass shootings are obviously the things, but like most of the crimes, or you could say the crimes that most lower. I don't know. Rifles are cheaper than handguns, so you could say.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, a gun is a gun.
Yeah,
A
it all
gun is a
just
gun.
depends-
But
it just really just depends on who's behind it.
exactly.
Yeah.
But
And
I just
how do you
think,
determine?
I just think the decision should be made, though, given all the mass shootings. What's the common weapon?
What's the
AR-15.
punishment? Yeah, and what's
An
the
AR-15.
punishment?
So why are they still accessible?
Being sold.
Yeah.
Why are they still accessible?
That's because the NRA. That's because the NRA. Yeah, because they want to make money off of selling guns. That's why it's so easy to get one, because
Yeah.
this is a business. At the end of the day, it all comes down to business. The
Yeah,
NRA,
that's true.
and keep in mind that the NRA also has people in Congress. They have people who are
That's
members
true.
That
in
is
Congress.
true.
So if
That'll
any
rise
gun
to-
laws come up that's going to restrict anything
Mm-hmm.
gun related,
They're gonna show.
no,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
that's why, so they have like a footnote on our system.
The NRA is pretty
practically.
damn powerful.
They, I mean,
Yeah,
they're
they
pretty damn
are.
powerful.
And
They are.
yeah, they get celebrities to come out and shit, like not
I
So
really struggle with it, though. Just like
The thing with this one though is all negligence though. So that was like, I mean, I'm not moving on the point that I think gun control laws should be way more.
no,
stricter.
negligence definitely plays a part. I
And
totally get where you're coming from.
negligence definitely played a crazy part in this one. I would have to start looking at all the other ones.
I mean, I don't know.
One with, I know the trending theme is definitely an assault rifle.
Mm-hmm.
and
I mean, in some
yeah.
cases, it has been handguns. Like I know Charleston, that was handgun.
Yeah.
I definitely, in lieu of this too, as well. If anyone watches Showtime, has access to Showtime, they did a docuseries a few months ago called Active Shooter, and what it is I think it was 9 or 10 episodes, but it actually just
I
gives
heard
you
of that, I think.
the in-depth playback on mass shootings in America. So every episode is a different shooting, and they talk with people who interact with the shooter, survivors,
those are
friends
so
and family of victims, and things like that.
They have
too.
like the principal, the neighbor,
Yeah,
like everybody in those shits.
I definitely recommend for you guys and anyone else, definitely watch it. It is chilling, but I think it's important that you learn these things. So just for me, my gun control thing too, I think this is when I probably started really feeling passionate about it, was the shooter in Charleston, Dylan Roof.
Yeah, in the church.
So this is more negligence too as well. So he went to purchase the gun, legally. He went through all the steps, things like that, submitted the background check, and they actually sold him the gun before his background check came back through. And the background check came in like 2 days after the shooting, saying that they couldn't sell him a gun. Yeah. So that's why I'm saying. I mean, even so, in some cases, I see where the system is designed to protect people, but if we're not implementing it, and I think it should be a stronger, more structured system, because, like you guys said, it is so easy to get your hands on one.
Yeah, it's so easy.
It's so easy. So
easy.
I just think it needs a little bit of attention. I'm not asking for a perfect solution or anything, but something.
Yeah,
something.
Yeah, make it more boring to get a gun. make it like the SATs to get a gun or
More
something.
yeah.
But just put a bunch of questions on there. Make it like the
really
SAT. Where you have to like study
out to do it.
But then but then some people argue, well, people will still be able to get guns on the black market.
That's true. I mean, and not only the black market, it's just so many guns in circulation now. Period. It's like, how do you get back all of them? It's so many. It's
and
just
look
so
at the
many.
NRA, man. Like, do you really think the NRA is like, we have to do? We have to make less money. That's what we should do.
Right.
So you have the business aspect. So it's a clusterfuck. That's what it is.
Yeah.
You don't even know where to start.
Right.
And I've even thought about like making it harder,
some
sort of mental check, like what you were talking about. But how do you make a test like that?
Yeah.
Because I always thought of it the way that when you're applying for a job and they ask you all those questions to see if you steal. You know what I'm talking about? Where you ask like 100 or 150 questions, something crazy, and they be like, strongly agree, strongly disagree. Those questions. It's like we've all learned how to take them where we know we're going to classify in colors. So, like, you can't really give a test.
Insane. Like,
Right.
People still fail those, so at least we would weed out somebody, though.
Yeah.
Because people are still failing those, I think. That's why they haven't gotten rid of them. It's just not enough people failing them, I guess.
I don't know. It's fucked
Who
up.
fucking knows, man?
Yeah.
These mass shootings are kind of crazy. Virginia Tech, Columbine, Sandy Hook. What was this one?
Parkland, Florida.
Las
Vegas. That wasn't that long ago.
Las Vegas was real. That was not
scary.
far ago. That was not long ago at all.
Yeah.
The dude from the hotel or something like that, right?
At a music festival.
Don't forget the Dark Knight Rises shooting.
Dark Knight Rises. I forgot all about that.
Yeah,
2012.
so, the series chronicles a few of them. So it does the Navy shipyard that happened back in like 2009, I think. They do Columbine. They do Aurora. They do a Sikh temple in Wisconsin. That one was kind of sad to watch. They did Pulse in Orlando.
Oh, I forgot about that. The gay club that got shot up.
Yeah.
That was like
I forgot about
that.
That
was like
too.
2-3 years ago.
Yeah.
That wasn't.
That wasn't long ago.
What else did they do?
Damn,
they did
that one was bad.
San Bernardino. They did that one.
Yeah.
San Bernardino. Yep.
So yeah, and then even the argument now too is, no one's taking the matter seriously. I think they said that Australia had maybe like 6 mass shootings between 1989 and 1996, and then they completely changed all of their government access laws for guns and things like that, and they haven't had one since then.
Damn.
Wow.
Holy shit.
And that's Australia.
Yeah.
That's way more than a plan that
And they got kangaroos.
The plan was flawless, clearly.
Right.
Damn, I didn't know that.
So, yeah, it's not to say that it would never work.
And what are Australia gun laws? Do you know them at all?
I don't know.
Yeah, that'd be interesting to find out.
But they did say that because, they said, look what happens when the government takes it seriously. And then, so many people have said, too, and this is the one that I kind of found to be like, man, if it didn't hit you in the feels, like, do you have a heart? And it's like, is your access to guns and ammunition more important than the life of a child? Because at this point now, kids are going to school, a place where they should be safe. And being shot and killed.
And this is not even including people who have gotten shot and killed by accident.
Right.
I saw a story where a kid found his parents' gun and
shot himself. Yeah.
Yeah.
That actually
that's
happened in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
Where,
Really?
a 3-year-old, I think, I don't know if they accidentally left the gun out in the back of our neighborhood. We lived in a huge development.
Yeah.
But yeah, they mentioned that they left the gun out on the dining room table or something like that, and the kid was 3 and saw it and played with it and shot himself and killed himself.
So we're not even including the accidents. You know?
Right.
If you add it on top of that, who knows what the numbers would be?
Right.
Yeah?
Those are the people that should not be gun owners.
Yeah.
Like, at all. Like,
Yeah, but like I said, how do you weed that out?
Right.
I know, man.
How do you weed out the non-people?
Yeah, it's just it's an already, like, I get what you're saying. I don't want to say it's a flawed system, but it's already kind of so far gone. I see you guys what you're speaking to there, but
Yeah, NRA, like I said, like NRA, who knows if they're going to have the altruistic integrity, I guess, to do what Australia did. It's like, yeah,
Right.
you know, I mean, like, this will be a test, if anything, to see, like, I mean, if people don't even know by now, like you really don't know by now that your government doesn't give a fuck about you. You don't know by now in 2018.
Yeah.
Even
What is
that's
it going
such
to
a
take?
disheartening thing to say.
It
too.
is, but yeah, the truth will set you free.
That too.
But
That
first it will piss
too.
you off. So right now it's pissing
No,
us
right.
off. Yeah. So yeah, the truth hurts and all that shit. You know.
Right.
So we have to acknowledge that our system has corrupt people at the top that are just that are putting money before people's lives.
Yeah.
You know.
Mm.
Once we acknowledge that, then maybe we could, start doing something about it.
So I
you
wish
know?
people would take, like, the government and their elected officials more seriously. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
yeah.
I feel like some people don't realize how
The
important it
local
is
elections.
until something unfortunate happens.
Yeah,
So
yeah. So
Yeah, man. I hate
doesn't it just
like-
make you feel heavy talking about it?
yeah.
That's why I ain't saying shit.
Yeah. Well, and then even to
It's like, because I hate watching, like, this is the main reason I don't watch the news, yo. It be
there's no good news.
And I just sit there looking at the news like,
Numb.
fucking shit, are
Just
you
numb.
serious?
Yeah, yeah, and I
Like,
think
it's just fucking draining, like, mentally,
Yeah.
and I'm not even, it's so much to think
Yeah,
about.
Yeah,
I think
I
that's one of the
agree.
reasons too, especially like when you look at more videos on YouTube and go down the rabbit hole of conspiracy
Oh, yeah,
and all
when
that
you
stuff.
get,
When you
because
go down
everybody
there,
has those moments where you get caught up, like,
yeah.
yeah,
you know what I mean?
trying
Yeah,
to get, to the truth of the
just
matter.
watch
You start
five-
researching something.
you
Yeah.
just
That's
start
how I got
researching,
onto the
yeah.
NRA thing. I didn't know that the NRA had people in Congress,
Oh,
trying to
yeah.
keep laws
Yeah.
from passing. I didn't know that
Yeah.
until I went down that rabbit hole,
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it really is disheartening. But I guess I've gotten to the point where it's just
We're
I know
numb
the system.
to it. We're numb to it.
I kind
which
of
is
know the
more
system.
problematic.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, being numb
Yeah.
to some shit is bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, and not to the point where you don't want anything to happen or you're just not caring. But to me, is like, I kind of like say, okay, I know how the system works.
Oh, you know what, too?
you know?
I remember hearing something a long time ago back in the day where we're so numb to certain things, as even death, because our video games and TV and movies show us what it looks like. Before, nobody knew what somebody's head. We didn't know what to expect if you shot somebody in the head, like what their head would do.
In a
But
realistic way.
in a realistic way, but we see it so much in movies and video
I don't.
games.
I have to cover my eyes when I see stuff like that. I can't look at it.
Yeah,
I don't
but-
like a lot of gruesome.
But it's like
things that.
normalizing it, so it's like
Yeah.
even though it's happening, people are like, it won't happen to
Desensitized.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, but like I said, like even that documentary, Michael Moore documentary I watched about like Canada. Called, Actually, that was called Bowling
Bowling for
for
Columbine.
Columbine.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
remember
so
one.
that was about the
Oh, I
Columbine
forgot.
shooting and
Who was
just
the guy that was in there?
Michael Moore. He
Michael
was the
Moore. Yep, I remember that. He
documentary,
was
yeah.
standing on the front of the cover, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he covered the whole Columbine shooting, and basically he went to his hometown, Canada, in Canada, and basically talking to, because a lot of people say that it's because of violent video games and violent music, and, Marilyn Manson. I
So
remember
that's where that
Marilyn
whole conversation
Manson
came from then.
and Eminem. Marilyn
Okay.
Manson and Eminem was under fire because of their lyrics in 1999 because of the Columbine shooting. So everybody in the system just pointed at them because of all the shit they talk about. He talked about killing his wife and his
Yeah.
music. So it's like, oh, that's the reason. So then Michael Moore went to Canada and started, asking kids and all that stuff, hey, what kind of movies do you watch? It's like, oh, I love action movies and seeing people getting killed and all that stuff. Remember, their killing rate, and is low and all that
Right.
shit there.
Yeah.
But they watch just
They're
as much
exposed to the
violence.
same things. Yeah.
Yeah. So then, what the fuck does that mean?
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
is something wrong with us?
Yeah, it's like it make you want to peel back to a deeper layer.
yeah.
to see
yeah.
what the real issue
So
is.
are
Yeah, that's
we just
crazy.
crazy? And they're just sensed to know that the difference between fiction and nonfiction. So
I've been fucked up
a
ever since
whole-
you brought up the Orlando one.
Yeah.
Because I was watching the news during the Orlando one, and I will never forget they were reading this dude's text messages to his mom.
Yeah, the black guy.
Yeah. Talking about, like,
mommy,
mom.
someone shooting. I
Like-
don't know if I'm gonna make it. I love you.
How old is he?
Yeah.
He was like 29, 28.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like
I
that.
mean,
And
young.
like texting, like I'm in the bathroom on the floor. They're still shooting outside. Like I don't know if I was like, what the like
Yeah.
they're reading these text messages on the news. I'm like, bro, that was the last. That's what. Ever since you brought it up, I cannot get that out of my mind now.
Well, well, they did one of the episodes of that show on that one.
I can't watch that shit, man. I'd be too sad.
I cried
scared.
almost
Yeah, I'd be
every
too scared.
episode, but and for me, part of me is just like, like, is it exploitation? But then I'm like, no, like, if the media doesn't cover it, we don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
We
true.
don't know.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it's
it's like
important
one or
that
the
we
other.
do know. So
There was some
That
kids
thing.
that went to my high school that did some wild shit that was on the news in Apex.
Mm.
They it was like 3 kids or 4 of them kidnapped this dude, had him in the basement for like 2 weeks on some shit, castrated him, and then killed him. I
What?
think. Oh yes,
The
people I went to
fuck?
Apex High School with. Yup.
what?
Holy
Yes.
shit.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that shit happened.
That's scary.
That shit happened in this area, and they were in the class of, I think they were in the graduation class of 06 and 07 maybe.
Wow.
Yeah, 06 and 07, and they did it to like a graduate of like a 09 class or something
Oh my god.
of that nature. So it was around our area, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Oh
it
my
was,
gosh.
Yeah, I remember that happened. It was after high school it happened because I remember when they brought it up, they weren't in high school. So it was like 2008 or 9, earlier after high school maybe. That happened.
Wow.
Yep.
That's
high school-
crazy.
The high school I just graduated from. I'm like, damn, like I went to school with people like this.
Yeah,
You know what
yeah,
I mean? Like,
yeah.
and I didn't.
You never know.
Apex was huge, so I didn't even know them, but I 2 of them looked familiar. I think it was 4 of them. 2 of them looked familiar, and the other 2 they didn't look familiar to me at all. But I'm like, that means I've definitely walked past those
Right.
2 at least. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like
Yeah.
Scary.
that close to some shit.
Yeah.
Had to do. Yeah, it was insane, man. It was insane.
I remember like just the first time, because the first time I ever saw like a shooting or anything, I remember just like when the Columbine thing was just big. Just
See,
I remember.
I was too young.
Do you
I
remember?
was
Oh,
only
I
7.
keep forgetting the.
Yeah, I was only 7, so I didn't really
yeah,
understand.
yeah,
it.
that's right.
I didn't feel the impact of the Columbine. I know. Well, I felt the impact. I did see what Columbine did. I was still younger, but I did see what it do to like people. Though I remember how
Yeah.
impactful that shit
I
was.
don't
Dang,
remember
you was
it.
7 and I was 15.
Yeah, it was in '99, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
99, so I
7.
was 9.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That was
Yes,
I was
or
old enough.
16. It might have
I
been
think the
16.
one that really like did it for me was Sandy Hook.
Okay, yeah.
I think I remember being in my old apartment on the couch watching the coverage and just crying, just crying.
Because it was a little kid. It was
Yes.
elementary school. That was
Yes.
the worst part
Yes,
about it.
Yeah. And the recent one, the Florida, what school? This was high school?
high school.
High school.
hmm
Yeah.
Still.
But even then too, like on social media and stuff too, and that's why like I have a love-hate relationship with cell phones and things like that now, and the culture we live in. But on the Shade Room, because I consider them like a news outlet for myself.
No, they damn sure are. Shade
Um,
room, media takeout.
They had video of one of the students who was there like on Snapchat. And, and they,
while it was going on?
yeah,
the
and you
shooting?
can hear just the rounds
Gunshots.
popping off. And you see they're in the classroom and you see all of them are like under desks and stuff.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's
Can you
crazy, man.
imagine
Schools are not
but can you
fucking
imagine
safe.
like back in '99, like when they did these things and you can't send those messages and
Yeah. Yeah.
You can't
Didn't
even
have cell phones. and
It's
shit,
risky
yeah.
for the SWAT team to call the classrooms to see who's there. It's just insane because
Yeah.
the technology wasn't there yet.
right.
All you had was the camera.
Isn't it just it make you just feel like you weigh 1,000 pounds?
Because it just doesn't.
It's
It makes
so-
you just.
it's so
You don't
heavy
know
on
what
my
to
soul,
do.
yeah.
Yeah, and you don't know what to do, and like
Oh,
you
yeah,
have a
you almost
kid.
feel
Where do you
helpless.
start the conversation at too?
You have a kid, and then like it's just shit, man. I'm afraid to take them to
Can't
school.
send you to school.
It's like homeschool. It's like what the fuck.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
like you
and
don't know
then
what to do.
too, I love John Legend. Follow him on Twitter too. He's so woke. I don't know when it was, but someone had tweeted out like, "Oh, some company is offering bulletproof panels that fit into children's backpacks." And John Legend replied the tweet and was like, "Don't you think it's kind of fucked up that we have to sell bulletproof panels to put in our kids' backpacks?
Yeah.
That
it
you're
is pretty
part of the
fucked up,
problem."
actually.
Yeah. You're not solving the problem.
Damn, you know what? I didn't even think about that. I was just on Bud's Gun Shop, like looking for like new like accessories to order and stuff, and they definitely had 2 backpacks. One looked like clearly like an adult's North Face backpack, bulletproof, and then there was another one that looked like a regular JanSport that you would give a kid that was bulletproof. So I didn't even realize. I just saw that maybe a week ago
Yeah.
on this gun website.
That's sad.
Yeah,
Yeah, because then that's like having a mess, a bunch of food and all this shit on this table, and there's a bunch of ants and roaches, and instead of getting rid of the trash, you just spray.
Yeah, or we just
and
put a
then
trap
more
over
just
here or
comes and you know. Is that no? The problem is the trash. Get rid of the trash. The trash in this case is the guns. I don't know, get rid of or whatever. But the problem is the guns. Yeah.
The access to the guns.
Yeah,
it's
it's
not
the trash.
It's not the gun. It's who's behind it.
Yeah. But that's just crazy, man. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. I don't even know, man. I don't know how to solve
Those are
this
like
shit.
the hard conversations to have.
I don't even know how to
But
solve
they're
it.
necessary conversations. That's why I wanted to ask you guys.
Yeah. It's like, you open us and make our third eye and shit.
Now you look. I told y'all mine is open.
Yeah.
Catch up.
Yeah. Catch up. Where?
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So I hope we get something.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not asking for a perfect fix. I'm not asking people to ban all guns. I'm just
hope
asking
something happens.
Even, all I'm going to ask for is just consideration.
Yeah.
At least be open to it.
Yeah.
Because I think that's been a lot of the problem even told you I'd be on Twitter. There was someone who opened up a whole thread and they were like, why is everyone criticizing President Trump? Barack Obama was in office for 8 years and had Sandy Hook, and, why didn't he write any laws and blah, 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 blah. And, someone was kind of like, do you realize it takes longer to get something passed in law than it does to get a gun? They were like, and then they were like, then on top of that, too, they were like, President Obama, he did try to implement reform on gun control and gun safety and things like that, but Congress shut him down because he didn't have Congress at the time. They were
Not
like,
to mention NRA's in there too.
Yeah, so they were like, it's just something to think about. Just make sure you're educated on the topic, or before you go pointing fingers.
Before you
and
jump out
like
your
that.
neck with them tweets.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's been a hot debate. My only concern, just similar to police brutality. Do we only care about it now while it's hot until the next thing happens? So I'm interested to see where it goes. Like I said, I'm just asking for consideration because at this point, it's very clearly a problem.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I have a question for both of y'all.
Sure.
It's actually a question I've been asking myself.
Okay.
With topics like this, and like this shit that's like just so heavy to think about. Like, how we're feeling right now.
Yeah.
Okay, other topics. There's more than one topic like this. You know what I mean? Like
Police brutality.
Just watching the news, you can find 5. Like, I feel like a bad person sometimes because I try to just stay.
No.
I try to stay away from that shit 100%.
100%.
I try to, like, well, not 100%, but like kind of 100%. I'm not gonna run from the conversation, but I don't want to have the conversation. That shit makes me so fucking sad, yo. So I just stay away from that shit. And I feel like I be a bad person sometimes because then it's like I should know more on it. But at the same time, I'm trying to look out for my own well-being because I know I just cannot handle hearing information like that all the time.
Yeah.
Just because I know
It does something to your psyche.
Yeah, like I feel like it makes me go crazy, maybe a little bit more sensitive than somebody else.
Makes you paranoid.
But a part
it
of
makes
that,
me a little paranoid.
You
just
might be heightened in that paranoia and those feelings though because you are kind of avoiding the topic. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. The fact that I haven't exposed myself enough to it is the reason why.
It's almost like it's haunting you.
Yeah. I hate
so you should spend some time with it.
Nah, I've spent time with the news. It's not the same. I've spent time with it. And it's just like I don't know how to filter it in where it's just enough that doesn't make me go crazy.
Yeah, I don't watch like the news on television. Because they run that shit 24/7.
My parents are like that. I'm like, you have to change it. I can't just hear the bad news all day because there's never good news.
It's much better to go to like a CNN and be able to pick the article.
I don't know. Oh, online. Yeah, I'll say because CNN.
Well, I'm saying that they'll run that.
I'm just saying just picking an article out online.
Yeah,
and not to mention we haven't even delved into like with these channels like the news and all that shit, the 24/7 channels
and things like that.
And how. Remember, you have to incorporate ratings. This is a hot story.
Right.
So they're just going to run it, not just because they want you to have information. They're running it because
they want people to tune into
information.
Their station.
Turn into our stations. Stay locked. It's CNN or Fox News or whatever,
Right.
They're trying to get ratings and shit. Oh, somebody got shot. Yeah, I mean, you're right. Now we got a story. There's so many factors.
It always interests me, like the people that because clearly the activist people are the people that hear these things, and not only does it make them sad, but it makes them want to like go proactively try to stop it. I feel bad that I'm not one of those people.
Proactive. Oh, to do something.
Like
about
I hear something and I be like, I gotta go change it, and I be hearing something, I be like, yo, I don't want
what
that
frustrates me is
I
feel like I
I'm
want to
trying
do
to stay away from
something.
that shit because I don't need that to happen to me or
Right.
anybody I know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but what frustrates me is like I get that jolt feeling like, oh yeah, I want to do something, but then what frustrates me is just like I don't even know where to start. Like I don't even
Yeah,
know what
that's
to do.
I mean, yeah, that's a thing
And,
too.
and not only that though, I feel like sometimes even when we do know where to start, we'd be like, "But I know it ain't gonna do shit." You know what I
I
mean?
think a lot of people have that mentality. That goes
Yeah.
back to like your petitions thing.
Yeah, exactly. One of
Yeah.
those things. It's
Mhm.
like, I mean, yeah, if I sign that petition, that shit ain't gonna work though. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like,
Yeah.
Right.
Just the NRA. I mean, even that was probably like a good idea. It's like, man, if we had some kind of like petition and then like all of us sign it and try to pass it through Congress, but
Well-
then the NRA has people in Congress
Right.
to deny it. So it's like,
Well, there are senators and people doing petitions all the time. So some of the people, it's very few. I don't like politics. Politics are touchy for me. I don't know how to feel about them. But I did sign up for like the email blast from Kamala Harris. She's a junior senator from California. So she's really taking the time to use her platform and her voice to really speak out against these things.
she
So-
was just elected.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I remember her. Yeah,
so
yeah.
I get her emails calling for action and things like that too. So sometimes when there are things to sign, I do put my name on them, and just like I told you guys, I sent my text into that bot. Told you guys I got my letter back
Yeah,
from our
that's right.
representative.
Yeah.
So it's nice to know that even though we think they're not listening,
Somebody's listening.
and I mean
yeah.
even our representative too. I can't remember his name. I want to say it's David Price for our area, but the letter, who knows if it was personally written back by him or an aide or whatever. But it was like I share your ideologies on this stance, and I'm making sure that we do fight on this. And I'm like, you know what? Okay, those are the
Yeah.
politicians that I appreciate.
yeah, politicians, because it usually comes down to that. What the politician, what is their motive? Like
Yeah,
sometimes
because a
you
lot
can't
of
even take-
politicians' motives are money.
Exactly.
So still,
Well, then
because
not only that, but
I
if
and
knew,
getting paid by
yeah.
fucking companies.
you don't
and shit.
align with them,
because
then
I knew
that's another
somebody whose
problem.
brother was pretty much. I guess you go to school for. Don't a lot of politicians go to school for political science?
Probably, I'm not even.
I
Sure
don't
what
even
the
know. I
process
Political
is.
science, criminology, stuff like that.
Yeah,
I'm
stuff
sure,
like
yeah.
that. So
lawyer or something.
I think
Free
he
law.
went,
Mhm.
yeah, or journalism or something like that. Like I felt like he went to school for one of those fields. Don't know which one, but he pretty much was in like a circuit of like politicians. Like those are the people he mingles with. Like, but he was like the college kid that like just graduated. And they're like, oh yeah, we know him from when he was interning like a couple years ago. So he was around people like the governor while they were running and things like that. And he said but at the same time, this is somebody that I know. Like
Yeah.
I can have this conversation with.
Right.
And then I remember his view of being a politician and running. He was like, "You're just asking for money all day." That's what he said. That was his.
For
like
funding.
When I
Your
first asked him,
campaign.
when I first asked him about him, that's how he summed it up, and it kind of just blew. I didn't know what to say because I was like, "Damn, I thought they were kind of out here doing different things." Like
I think it depends on the person. Some people go
Sometimes
into
that's
it
politics
does,
for
and
different
it
reasons.
does depend on
Mhm.
the person. And he was like, that stuck out to me when he was like, I was like, so you could be a politician? He was like, yeah, I know how to become a politician, but he was like, I don't want to ask people for money all day because that's pretty much what you're doing. He was like, you're doing like these other things like such a small percent of the time. Most of your meetings are you asking for funding.
For your
And then
campaign,
it's like, yeah, you have your agenda, but your agenda is so expensive, you're asking for more money than handling your agenda. That's kind of how he summed it up. I was
Interesting.
like,
and
that's
some
kind of
politicians can be bought. By,
Yeah,
That is
by
true.
corporations,
Yeah.
you know? So
Exactly,
like for the NRA, for instance,
Mm-hmm.
they could buy a politician and then
Yep.
say, "Hey, we're paying you this. Be against any
Right.
like, gun control
Exactly.
changes and all that stuff." And then, hey,
So that's
we
why
need guns.
It's like,
So you don't know.
and he's not. I don't know. And he never mentioned he was working on like around this is like state level. You know what I mean? State and city level, and it's that real. So
Yeah.
can't imagine what the conversations are at the top in Washington D.C. You
Right.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
In those Congress meetings, like when you go chill in your boy's office, the conversation you have. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
insane, kind of sickening when you think about it.
Yeah.
And then it could be the reason that we're having news even has stories like this to broadcast.
Yeah. Because you have to think about it. With the NRA, even though this is like, it's always a tragedy and all that stuff, it's pretty cold-blooded to think that a lot of people in the NRA are kind of just looking at us like, well, that's just another shooting. I mean, like,
That's
hey,
another thing that
they don't feel personally. A lot of them, I'm pretty sure, don't feel personally affected by this. So, well,
Right.
our family is safe. Our family.
That's true.
You know that feeling where
Because especially if I'm supporting gun control, everybody in my family got a gun, so they wouldn't get caught.
they're
in
not
that.
going to public schools.
Yeah, or they-
Mhm.
yeah.
Right.
Or even if
Right.
they
It's
weren't.
not, if they can't relate.
Yeah,
Yeah,
or even
yeah.
if they were in that situation, they carry, so they would at least defend themselves. Probably.
Yeah, it's like a rich and peasant kind of thing, you know.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
for all we know, they look at us like we're just another dead peasant.
Like
on
we're
the beach.
ants.
Yeah,
Like stepping
and we're
on
not going to
ants.
change our fucking laws
Damn.
for peasants.
Damn.
So,
Damn.
oh, what?
That hit me in the feels.
Oh, the peasants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's probably a thing, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It might not be a thing consistently, but it's definitely a thing somewhere.
People who think Walmart sells walls, come on, man. They're really gonna try to do something for us. Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
That's why the best people in business started from the bottom and then went up there.
That's why I was actually kind of like for Bernie after a while.
Oh,
you know, because he was a
love Bernie.
revolutionary.
I went and saw him when he came here.
Yeah.
Oh, you did?
He came with Pharrell.
Where was he at?
Oh,
That's
shit.
right. He was in Raleigh.
He
Right.
came with Pharrell and Hillary.
Oh, that's great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. After a while, like that, I started going towards him right before he got kicked out. You know, because usually with politicians, like
during the Democratic vote.
Yeah. You know, I really try to like listen to what people are saying. I don't just vote for blue just because. You know?
Right. No,
I'm just
of
like,
course.
no, I'm listening
That's
to
why
your
I try
policies.
to make sure that I identify with the candidate.
Yeah, and I just like, even though I still like, I would rather Hillary than Trump. You know, because I think Hillary would kind of just like. She would just be a better representative of the country.
For your beliefs.
Yeah, just a better representative of the country than Trump.
It's the safest bet, though.
Yeah.
That's
Out of those two,
Hillary,
what I'm saying.
We don't really know what she would have done, but we know it would have been the same shit we used to. You know what I mean?
I think she would. Yeah,
I don't think she would have shaken it up.
She would have been like Bill. I feel like she would have been like Bill or something.
I feel like it would have been kind of the same. We wouldn't have like this is all.
I heard
shocking.
the '90s were popping.
Oh yeah, we have a lot of crap going on right now.
Like when Trump does some
and
shit or there's something involved with the hire, it'd be like, boy, this is. I didn't know that was possible. You know what I mean? Like her, I feel like if we would just feel like it'd just be like some just regular shit. This is how life.
But I mean, I'm
okay
with
with
that.
Shootings and all that. No, I'm okay with that. But what I'm saying is like, when it was between her and Bernie, I was more for Bernie because his stuff sounded more revolutionary. Like, holy shit, we're gonna change the system from the inside. You know, like we're actually gonna change up stuff, and he was gonna give money to.
He should have hit all those intentions.
Yeah, but see,
he would have made it further.
Yeah, but see,
You don't want nobody in there shaking it up. You gotta not say that.
I don't know because when I went to that rally, there were more of them than us.
But that's the thing though. You can't really. You kind of have to that because that's why people were rallying behind him to begin with. Like a lot of people were rallying behind him because he was going to shake the system up from the inside. Yeah. But think about all the people who were in the inside.
He was like,
but all the people in the inside, they were never going to let him get that close.
No, that's true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so that's why I feel like both of them, Trump and Hillary, kind of just they pushed him out as like, okay, he's an idealist. Like his ideas are like, woo.
You know what killed me though? I think it was an article from the Huffington Post. They said that they knew President Trump was going to win the election the day Hillary won the primary because they said Bernie could have beat Donald Trump, but Hillary couldn't.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. So I thought that was interesting.
I feel like I just knew I just knew Trump was going to win. I just felt like it was just everything I did. I voted, but I was like, this is fucking pointless. Like, because I know I'm going to lose. Like, I just felt like that the whole time. I waited in that damn line just to lose, and I knew that was good. That's what I felt like the whole time. I was just like, I did feel
weird, like going into the polls. Like I think about when I voted for President Obama, and I was like, I feel empowered voting for him. You know, I feel like it's a good decision. And then I remember like it was cold, it was dreary, like standing in line to go and vote. But I was like, it's my civic duty to go and vote.
Yeah.
But even then, and then just going home and watching the footage and just being like. I think a lot of people feel like it's for black people, it's like a black and white thing when it comes to President Trump and things like that. Which is an issue, but that's not the whole piece of the pie for me. This is something that I explain to, white people all the time. Oh, you guys, no, it has nothing to do with that. I said, just for me, for one, I feel like he just doesn't represent my thoughts or my beliefs. Like I'm not someone he would care about.
Yeah,
I'm not.
And
I'm not someone. My
I'm not
whole
ignorant enough to act like he does.
Where I am in the classism, my race. I'm a female. Like he just.
You got a couple strikes
born
against
rich.
You just don't care about me. You don't represent me.
He was born rich. How can he?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, some can, but
yeah.
I'm assuming I'm assuming some can.
And he has no political experience.
Yeah.
But just that's the one I'm like.
He was just a rich guy.
Yeah, you have no political
He's good at
experience.
business. That's what I heard. A lot of white people were saying like he was.
Yeah,
that's why
that was.
Voted for
why a lot of people
business.
said that.
But I saw some article that was saying like, no, wait. First of all, you shouldn't be running America like a business. You should be running it like. Damn, what did they say? They were basically saying like running the government and running the business is like two different things because the business is like when you're running a business, money is first.
Yeah.
So you shouldn't be running the country like a business. The people should be first.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm about to say, and the needs of the people.
Yeah,
makes
yeah.
sense.
So that's so if you explain that to somebody who voted for them because voted for him because he's good at business, it'd be like, okay, well then you just voted against yourself because he's thinking about money, making himself money, than you, the customer. You know.
Right.
So you done fucked up. You congratulations.
What do the history books look like now? And like
in school?
Yeah, like high school.
They're on iPads.
What do you mean,
and
like
shit.
what's in it?
Yeah, I just kind of thought.
I don't know.
about
I
that.
thought
know.
they use like pads.
I've been out
now.
of school for almost 10 years. It's
I know.
probably real different. You
I
know
would
what
love
mean?
to get
Like,
my
heard
hands
they-
on a textbook and see what's in it.
Yeah, what the fuck is in there?
I heard some
Yeah.
schools are like some kids are on pads, like they download apps.
Yeah.
They download the textbook. On
On their
their
apps
phone.
and just
Yeah, I
swiping
might
shit.
need to buy one or something.
Yeah, that's
Probably-
actually
I
not a
could-
bad idea.
Actually, we can just go to the library.
What's that?
For
In the
those who
21st
don't
century,
know,
what
it's
is
a
that?
place that holds books.
What's a book?
Holds
A
knowledge.
lot of books. And if you don't know what a book is, it's the thing that
You were born
you
yesterday.
go to on here and you turn the pages with your finger. That's actually a real item.
Yeah. Look, I mean, hey man, we might reach this point where people are just like,
Well, you're really breaking shit down.
"What
It's
is
like,
this?" You know, like how people.
you know the iBook app. That is what a book used to be. Now there's this thing called paper.
Yeah, but have you seen the video of people like the kids like holding
With
a
the-
Walkman? And it's
Oh
like,
yeah.
what is this? A phone?
Yeah.
Books could probably be like that at some
But
point.
no, I think that goes back to what you were saying like earlier too about how there's just the disconnection and how like history and things are being written and how the next
Oh,
generations
yeah.
are being informed and things like that too.
Yeah, it'd be real interesting to get our hands on one of those.
Yeah.
But shit, man, just get the fuck out of here, man.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
that's
yeah,
it.
man. Yeah, that's it. Yo, I'm sorry. It
Keep
was
your
a
heads
little,
up.
It was a little
Keep
No,
your
I
heads
mean
up.
necessary discussion.
It was necessary
Yeah.
though.
Necessary.
But let's
Yeah.
keep our heads up.
Keep our heads up. There's always a brighter day.
Yeah.
The sun will come out tomorrow. You
Yeah.
know, one of those situations.
Yeah, come on, us blacks. Like, let's see if we could change shit.
We can.
Yeah,
Why do
we
you think
can.
they keep us down?
Yeah,
They
yeah.
know we are powerful.
Too
Yeah.
powerful.
Yeah.
You see what we did with the movie. So
Right.
Yeah, we're the number one movie in the
Just let
country
us
right
rise.
now.
We'll take care of you.
yeah. Imagine us taking, but
Afrofuturism.
you know what you're scared of. No,
Yeah.
I'm just playing.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, man, we out of here. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Actually, like, comment, share. Oh, repost. We
Yeah.
need those too.
yeah.
Peace.
Peace.